Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and enjoy this fanfic part 1. Now let's start the fanfic. Haku was looking for herbs when he finds a boy not much younger than himself in a clearing asleep under a tree. Burnt remains of what used to be his jumpsuit lay around him. If not for the burnt remains of his boxers, he would be completely revealed to the world. He was intrigued by the presence of the boy who got Zabuza to release his hold on Kakashi. Stepping closer, Haku knelt down next to the boy, placing a hand on his neck to feel for a pulse. Naruto's eyes snapped open. In that moment Haku can see the pain, sorrow and despair in those blue orbs, pain he knows all too well. Naruto, not one to take a chance on whether this person is here to hurt him or not, tries to run but stumbles against the tree he was lying beneath. Resigned to his fate, he leans against the tree hugging his knees crying. Seeing the same reactions he had not too long ago, Haku can't help but feel pity for this young boy. Slowly, so as to not scare the poor boy any more than he already is, Haku kneels in front of him to look into those eyes. How would one so young know such pain to stain the depths of one's being so deep? He thought, "You don't need to fear me, I won't hurt you. Why are you out here all alone?" Haku pleaded, trying to get the cowering boy to open up. He was so strong when he fought Zabuza. Seeing this, I wonder where that indomitable spirit went. I am always aloe. He couldn't even finish his sentence. It was like a dam had burst and all he could do was cry. No one wants me. He vil ligers ha ha hate me. They say I don't deserve their kk kindness. In his sobs, Haku could feel the pain from his own childhood. He reached out and hugged him, trying desperately to console one so broken. That's when he saw it. Scars leading from the wrist up the inside of each forearm. Shish, I won't hurt you, I too know the pain of being hated. It's hard, I know, he said, now rubbing Naruto's back. It seemed to be helping, as he was slowly calming down. Instead of the violent sobs, there were only endless tears. Why? Naruto finally asks, "You're a nice lady. Why would they hate anyone so nice?" It's because where I come from, people like me are hated and feared. It's not something I did but something I am. But enough about me. There was a comfortable silence as they just sit there. Finally, Haku grew curious. "My name is Haku, and may I ask your name?" "Naruto. My name is Uzumaki Naruto," he replied. He was just happy that this lady was being nice. Even though she would probably either run screaming or try to kill him if she knew what he was. Right now he was enjoying just sitting with his head leaning on her shoulder. "So, would you mind telling me about these?" Haku asked while brushing his hands against the scars on his wrist. "I'm just tired of it all." Rubbing the marks while just sighing. His voice was one too old to be coming from the boy. "It hurts so much, the way they look at me. I can see it in their eyes. They want me to die. They've tried to kill me on several occasions, but I just wake up in the hospital. Even the doctors and nurses whisper the hateful names as I leave. The only ones who care are the Hokage and Iruka-sensei, but they're always busy. Every night I come home to find my apartment trashed or a rock that's been thrown through the window. Sometimes, they come to beat me in the middle of the night. I'm really just too tired to try anymore. Even my teammates hate me. If this is life, it's just not worth living. Would you be able to live with it, Haku? All the hate, all the stares, and all the beatings. Am I wrong to want it to end?" With that final sentence he broke into violent sobs again. "Have you not known love? Surely someone must love you?" asked Haku without thinking. The response he got tore out his heart. Instead of tears he heard Naruto laugh. Not a happy laugh, but one that comes from anger and despair. "Ha! That's a good one, Haku, love. It's something I will never have. They will rejoice and celebrate the day I die, so why not today? I tried my hardest, but I couldn't last night. But eventually I will succeed. I will give them their party and go out with a bang." It couldn't be. To see the fire and determination in his eyes was hurting Haku as if he was there. To want one's end so desperately, It was sickening. Haku came to a realization. He would show the boy love, albeit a physical love. One so broken surely deserves it before the end. Slowly, he guided Naruto's face to his own and pressed their lips together. The first thing he noticed was he could taste the saltiness of his tears. Naruto was in shock. Like a deer in the headlights, he couldn't move. What was she doing? He could feel her hand creeping through his hair. Instinct finally won out and he started to return the kiss. When Haku noticed this, he started to kiss his cheek until he reached Naruto's ear. Let me show you. Let me show you what you so rightfully deserve. The passion in Haku's voice echoed through his ears. His mind raced to catch up with what was happening, but was blown away when Haku kissed and nipped her way to Naruto's chest. His mind just stopped when Haku bit his nipple slightly and then blew her breath across it. Everything was a burr of pleasure, but everything finally came crystal clear when something similar to a hand wrapped around his manhood. Now Naruto has had an erection before. He has even pleasured himself, but the feeling of someone else doing it couldn't compare. All he could do was shudder. Let me do this for you. Enjoy yourself, for you deserve this. Before Naruto could even reply, Haku took the head of his shaft into his mouth. All Naruto could do was fall back onto the grass and grip the earth for all he was worth. The feel of Haku's mouth was something that Naruto would never forget. The soft velvetiness of the tongue and the warm suction was soon becoming too much. 7 inches, I have to be at least 2 years older and I'm only 7.5. Well, it's time for the finisher. I'm kind of glad I read those Ika books the brothers love so much. With that though, he took Naruto to the base and hummed. It had its desired effect. Naruto's eyes flashed open as he felt the biggest orgasm of his life. In his 14 years of existence, this was on the list of 5 best moments in my life. All he could do was stare at Haku as she swallowed his seed with a grin. Naruto-kun, I enjoyed doing this for you. I must go now, but meet me here tomorrow morning before the sun rises and we will meet again. And with that, Haku tucked Naruto back into his boxers and left. After he caught his breath, he stood up and hinged some cloths and started walking to Tazuna's house. When he got there, the only one home was Tsunami. Naruto, where were you? I was so worried. Here, let me get you something to eat. As she said this, he just looked at her. It wasn't his usual cheerful grin, no, it was a look of solemn contemplation. Something happened to the boy, she could tell, but what it was she could not. He ate what she gave him and thanked her, but it seemed to just be mechanical reflex. He stood up and mentioned he was tired and was going to bed. She just nodded and wished him good dreams as he found his way to the futon that was to be his bed. Why did Haku do that? Did she really think he, the demon brat of Konoha, deserved that? It's not that he didn't enjoy it, it had to be one of the single most pleasurable things he's done. Would she have done it if she knew? Will she really be there tomorrow? Will he go there? Will she do that again? I saw in her eyes that she cared. Was it pity? What was the feeling he felt for her? That felt so good, but did she really enjoy it? If it happens again, the least I could do is return the favor. Will she let me touch her? Ah, this is giving me a headache. But I don't want to sleep. The nightmares and memories are just too painful. I'll go there tomorrow and tell her what I am. She deserves to know. If she's just like the rest, I'll just end it there. My new technique should work. But if she's not like the others, then what do I do? I'll just have to wait and see. At this time, Haku was making his way to his room. He had just finished bandaging Zabuza's wounds and had an encounter with Gato. He just lay across his bed and stared at the ceiling. He was in so much pain. If it was really as bad as he says it is, how did he last this long? How long has he been trying to end it all? Could my pain even compare to his? He thought I was a girl. Did I do the right thing? He's the enemy. He is the reason why Zabuza is hurt. Did he wish to die in that fight? What will I do when we fight again? Zabuza will be ready in 3 days' time. Why did I say I wanted to meet him again? Will he accept what I am? Will he be grossed out? Will he hate me? Why did I do that to him? I admit that he's cute, but that was the first time I've done something like that. He certainly seemed like he enjoyed it, and I'm happy he did, but was it right? Will he be there tomorrow? Will I be there tomorrow? I have to go. Everyone has abandoned him and I will not do the same. But can I face him after what I did? What could he have done? Konoha is prided for their bloodlines, so that can't be it. Maybe I should ask him. It didn't taste bad at all, kind of salty but good. Oh God, I'm hard as a rock. I hope he didn't see it. I'll tell him tomorrow. He has the right to know. What time is it? Was the only thought that ran through Naruto's head as he looked out the window. Well, it's close to morning. Ah, do I go or not? She was so nice. I'll go if it's just to see her one last time. With that thought, he throws on a pair of his orange pants and a black undershirt and sneaks out. All those pranks helped my stealth tremendously. Well, I better hurry. Where is he? Was the thought running through Haku's mind at that time. It's 10 minutes till dawn and he still isn't here. Did he already kill himself? I was kind of hoping to play again. What am I thinking? When he finds out what I am, he'll get angry. I wonder how old he is. He's definitely older than the other two. A hell of a lot cuter too. Ah, here I am thinking perverted thoughts about someone that is trying to kill themselves. Caught in his own thoughts, Haku didn't notice Naruto walk into the clearing. She hasn't noticed me. Is she thinking about last time? She's blushing slightly. Well, the only way to find out is to ask. Good morning, Haku. Was all he said, and her head instantly swung to face him. He could also see her get slightly redder, but then she shook her head as if to clear away a thought. Good morning, Naruto. I'd like to talk to you some more. Care to join me? Haku asked as he sat with his back against a tree. I hope he didn't see my erection. I'm not ready to explain that one just yet. Sure, but I'm not sure you going to like what I'm going to tell you. Sitting across from Haku Indian style, he gets comfortable. Haku, I've decided to tell you why the villagers hate me. If you hate me after that, I'll tell you now that I don't blame you. Just promise you'll listen all the way through. Haku noticed how stressed he seemed to be, so, without warning, he pulled Naruto next to him and just hugged him. It must pain you a lot to tell someone this. I don't know what you could say to make me hate you, but I promise to listen to the whole story. Bowing his head, he started. Well, what do you know about the Yondaime Hokage? I know he was one of the most powerful ninjas to ever live. I mean, he stopped the Iowa village from conquering Konoha and that he killed a demon. Haku saw Naruto stiffen as he mentioned the demon. Well, you're mostly right. Resting his elbows on his knees and placing his head in his hands, he continued. Haku, nobody can kill a demon. It's impossible. The only way to stop it was to seal it. At this moment, Haku knew where this was going, but let him continue. And you can't just seal it into anything. No, the only option was a newborn. I don't know how he chose it, but I was the lucky one. He gave his life to seal the Kyuubi no Kitsune into me. I carry a demon that killed thousands. They see it instead of me. Do they realize that I'm not it? Or is its misery so important they have to condemn me? Do his sins outweigh my innocence? He turned to look Haku straight in the eyes. Do you feel dirty for touching me? Do you want to gag? Do you want to kill me? Your eyes yesterday told me you cared. What will they tell me today? He holds the Kyuubi. That's why they hate him. What gives them the right? Don't they see they were hurting a little boy? As Haku was thinking, Naruto saw anger in her eyes. With a sigh, he stood and walked to the middle of the clearing and started the hand seals that would end his life. What's he doing? Oh God, this must be what he was talking about. The technique that will kill him. I must stop him. Without further thought, Haku dived at Naruto, tackling him to the ground to stop the seals. Don't you dare. Don't you see if you kill yourself they win? Naruto was surprised. She stopped me. But I saw the anger and hate in her eyes. All I see now is fear and something else. Why shouldn't I let them win? I saw it in your eyes, Haku. The same hate and anger. I thought you might understand, but I was wrong. But don't worry. When I die, I'll take him with me. You don't have to fear his release. Now leave me. His eyes were closed so he never saw it coming. When he felt her lips on his, he stared into her eyes. Gone was the anger and hatred. All that remained was compassion and a softness he'd never seen. I don't hate you, Uzumaki Naruto. The burden was placed on you without consent. They have no right to hate you. What I fear is that they've broken you beyond repair. I fear that you will hate me for what I am. As Naruto stared at her, he could only cry. Haku, why would I hate you? Naruto was confused. Haku didn't hate him, but Haku thinks I might hate her. How could I hate someone who accepts me? I don't think there is anything you could say that would make me hate you. Haku realized that he was sitting on Naruto's hips and quickly stood and turned his back to Naruto. What if I told you I wasn't a girl? Naruto, to his credit, just stood and hugged Haku from behind. I couldn't care less. Just the fact that you accept me tells me that you're not a bad person. So what if you're a guy? I mean, it's a surprise, but I don't think any less of you. You don't feel disgusted. Yesterday, what I did. You still don't care. Twinges of hope were hidden in the despair in his voice. No, I quite enjoyed it either way. I was hoping you'd let me return the favor. To say Haku was surprised would be a vast understatement. But then worry still hit him. Naruto, I appreciate your words, but you still don't understand. I'm not a boy either. Naruto was so confused that he let Haku slip from his embrace. Naruto watched as Haku slowly removed her pink kimono to reveal the most beautiful body he has ever seen. Her figure was something out of a dream. It was flawless. White alabaster skin, round full S, smooth stomach, wide hips and long sensuous legs that seemed to go on forever. The only thing that contradicted that fact that she was female was a fully erect just above her slit. Naruto snapped out of his stupor to see Haku looking away from him. She is afraid I'll hate her for this. And I'm going to refer to Haku as a girl from now to stop confusion. Naruto stepped up to the goddess in front of him and gently moved her chin to face him. Haku, you're beautiful, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. They're blind to see the goddess before me. Tears of joy were streaming down her cheeks. He thinks I'm beautiful. Thank you, Naruto. You don't know how much your words mean to me. But there is something else I have to tell you. I was the hunter nin that saved Zabuza. Shock and confusion ran rampant through his mind. She's Zabuza's accomplice. If that's so, then why didn't she kill me? I have so many questions. Why? Was all that he could say. When I found you yesterday, I thought you were dead. When I went to check for a pulse, you tried to run, and that's when I saw your eyes. They spoke of endless pain and sorrow. It made me remember my past. I was hated for my bloodline. It was hated so much my father killed my mother and tried to kill me to end it. I killed him with my powers. I killed my own father and the rest of the mob. From that day on, I lived on the streets, digging through trash for clothes and something to eat. That is when Zabuza found me. He makes no illusions to have feelings or to care. I was told outright I was to be his weapon, but I didn't care because someone wanted me. Someone needed my help. But most importantly, I was no longer alone. After hearing your tale, I knew I wouldn't be able to kill you. It would be like killing myself. What am I going to do, Naruto? I can't betray Zabuza. He protected me and gave me a reason to live. I just don't know anymore. Haku let loose all the tears she's kept inside and just cried into his chest. Caught in his own thoughts, he just sat against the tree and held her in his lap. Haku is Zabuza's weapon. I will have to fight Haku. But I couldn't hurt her. But the mission will fail if I don't fight. I would be condemning this country to slavery if I stand aside. Can I let a country of innocent people die because I have finally found someone who understands? If it was just a matter of betraying my village, I could do it. I mean, the old man and Iruka would understand. But could I live with letting Tazuna die? Haku, I don't want to have to fight you. But I can't condemn this country to slavery at the hands of Getu. He is an evil man that hurts innocent people. But neither can I harm you, the one person that truly understands me. Haku just looked into Naruto's eyes. Do you think we could have been together if things were different? I'm sure of it. They both just continued to shed tears holding onto each other. Naruto, can we be together, just this once? Haku's answer was Naruto's lips being pressed to hers. She felt him nipping at her lips, slowly rolling them so she was beneath him. Tilting her chin up, he stared straight into her eyes. Haku, know now that I love you no matter what. Before she could respond, he returned to her lips with twice the passion of before. Tongues collided and battled for dominance, as hands roamed each other's bodies. Naruto's kisses made their way to her ear. Now it's my turn to give you something you deserve. Her moans were answer enough for him as he made his way down her neck, biting her collar hard enough to leave a mark. The sensation of his teeth against her skin was like a flash of pure pleasure. Noting her mewling at his bite, he continued his journey down the angel beneath him. As his lips climbed her, his hand traced the other. He couldn't get enough of her skin. It was so smooth and soft, as if to hide power concealed beneath the velvet exterior. With a devilish smirk, he took her nipple into his mouth, tracing his tongue around it before biting it slightly. He was awarded with her moans that turned to whimpers as he blew across her abused flesh. Making sure as to not leave out the other, he attacked it with the same ferocity as his hand traveled her stomach, wrapping around her hardness. He smirked again when he felt her heartbeat double. Naruto yo. Ah. Her thoughts skipped as he gently squeezed her as his tongue made its way over her navel. Suddenly Haku loses all ability to form a coherent "oh" as his lips pressed against her head, leaving butterfly kisses down the underside to her womanhood. Spreading her lips, he explored her inner folds with his tongue, enjoying the chorus of mewls, moans and whimpers. Haku was in absolute bliss as she ran her hands through his hair. She didn't believe the body could experience such pleasure. She arched her back and screamed his name to the heavens when he found her little bundle of nerves. After her reaction, he seemed to take special care to that particular part. When she felt his mouth leave her, she whimpered with want and need. When she suddenly felt his mouth around her, her eyes snapped open, but all she saw was white. He knew she wasn't expecting this. He knew most men would avoid it like the plague, but he loved her in all her glory. He could feel her nails dig into his scalp and took that as encouragement. He continued to trace every detail of her while applying a slight suction. He figured if it felt great when she did it to him yesterday, then it would make her feel just as good. As he slowly progressed down her length, his hand found its way back to her slippery folds. Figuring she wasn't going to last, he tried to take her into his throat. After a couple of tries, he managed to take her to her root and hum just like she did to him, only he also attacked her clit with his diligent fingers. Knowing what was coming helped a lot when he felt her shoot down his throat. Only gagging slightly, he pulled back just so he could swallow her seed. He was surprised that it didn't taste that bad. As Naruto started to deep throat her, her world singled down to just her and the blonde boy between her legs, and when he started to hum just like she did to him, she lost all perspective. It was like floating in nothingness while warmth explodes out from your core. When she finally came to, she saw his whiskered face smiling up at her. By your screams, I would say you enjoyed that very much. His knowing smile only seemed to broaden when she blushed slightly. Reclaiming his place above her, he took her lips in a passionate kiss, once again battling for dominance as her hands removed his pants and boxers in one fell swoop. Sliding her hand around him, she licked his ear. I want you to take me, make me yours. With a nod, he positions himself at her opening. Haku, with this I declare myself yours and yours alone. With this said, he took her lips as he took her innocence. Seeing her in pain, he tries to speak only to be silenced by her finger at his lips. Just let me get used to it, I'll be alright. With a smile, he went to kissing the mark he left on her collar while caressing her chest. After a short while, she wrapped her legs around his waist. He started a slow and steady rhythm so as to not to hurt her. This didn't last long as she started to plead for him to go faster. Her screams started to drive him wild as his instincts made him try to get deeper, to go harder. He bit down on his earlier mark as her nails raked across his back. Their eyes met as they hit their respective peaks. They quickly fell into a peaceful slumber, cuddling into each other. God, I don't want to deal with these people. Naruto reluctantly opened the door to Tizuna's house and noticed his team's shoes still missing. Well, it is only midday, they're probably still out training. Good, it just means I don't have to listen to the banshee wail about the greatness that is Sasuke. Naruto, is that you? Came the voice of Tsunami out of the kitchen. Yeah, where is everyone? After taking off his shoes, he heads to the kitchen to get something to drink. Father and Kakashi are at the bridge and Sasuke and Sakura are out training. Are you hungry? I just started making lunch for me and Inari, said the motherly woman from where she was making rice balls. As if on cue, his stomach grumbles. With a slight blush, he gives one of his patented grins. That would be great. I just need to wash up. Well, hurry up. Lunch will be ready in 10 minutes. He's a lot more sedated today. I wonder if something is bothering him. Naruto, are you alright? Yeah, I just got up extra early for training and am really tired. As if to punctuate his sentence, he yawned as he headed upstairs to the shower. Making a quick detour, he grabbed some clean clothes and headed to the bathroom. While shedding his dirty clothes and getting the water to temperature, his mind goes to thinking about what he's going to do. Seemingly on autopilot, he enters the shower, and the next thing he knows is Tsunami asking if he is sure he's okay. After realizing where he was and that he was staring at his rice balls, he just brushes it off and eats. After thanking her for a great lunch, he goes to his room to rest. Something is really bothering him. I wonder if Kakashi would know what it is. I'll ask him when he gets back later. The rest of the day is a blur to Naruto. Dinner was thankfully quiet. It seemed that the other two genins were too tired to notice his withdrawn state, and Kakashi just decided not to look a gift horse in the mouth. The night finally finds him pondering on the roof, staring at the moon. Without ever turning around, he asks, is it right to condemn one person to save the rest, sensei? Does the need of the many outweigh the innocence of one individual? That is a question I don't think I can answer, replied the shadowy figure behind Naruto. Just remember, you have people who care for you. It is these people that make life worth living. Feeling the breeze of Kakashi's shushin, he decides to turn in. I wonder what Haku is doing, was his final thought before sleep claimed him. Why are they chasing me again? All I wanted was to see what the festival was like. A 5-year-old Naruto was currently running for his life. Sadly, just like every time before, he finds himself cornered in an ally, getting the worst beating he's had yet. Just before Naruto loses consciousness, he sees an Anbu drop into the ally and start to lay waste to his attackers. Struggling to see his savior, he can't seem to focus and only sees a blurry white mask. With a groan, Naruto sits up and stretches his arms. You're not taking my mother. That sounded like Inari. Running downstairs, he saw that the first floor looked to have had a bladed tornado run through it. Continuing out front, he sees Inari charging 2 thugs with a kitchen knife. Goodbye, kid, said the shirtless one as he split the child in 2 only for it to poof into smoke. What the? Hey, what are you 2 idiots doing? The thugs finally look to the roof to see Naruto untying Tsunami with Inari. With a whisper, he tells them to close their eyes since this wouldn't be pretty. Just at that moment, the thugs look to where they set down the tied-up woman to find a clone that started to glow. Bunshin Debakua, were the last words either of the thugs heard before their lives ended. Inari, watch over your mom and go somewhere safe. I have to help my team. With that, he was off. When he made it to the bridge, he found that Sakura was protecting Tizuna and Haku had Sasuke at her mercy. He couldn't see through the mist but could feel Kakashi and Zabuza fighting. He heard a scream come from the dome and saw Sasuke go down. He was about to engage Haku when Sakura charged into the dome, but on the way in left an explosive tag on the 2 mirrors she passed. After getting to Sasuke's body, she picked him up and set off the tags. The explosion didn't even affect Haku as she just started to riddle her new target with Senbon. After Sakura fell, Haku dropped her Makio Hyosho and started walking towards Tazuna. Moving between the two, Naruto takes a defensive stance. Haku, I can't let you kill him. I cannot condemn these people to be the slaves of Gato. I've got to find a way to knock her out. From what I've seen, she uses ice as a weapon. Bunshin Dabakua is out of the question because I refuse to kill her. As the two were staring each other down looking for a way to end the battle, the mist suddenly dissipated to reveal Zabuza being restrained by a bunch of nin dogs and Kakashi preparing Chidori. Helplessly, Naruto watched as Haku slipped from the mirror next to her to the mirror by Zabuza taking the Chidori to her left. After jumping back to avoid Zabuza's sword, Kakashi lays the dying brunette down. Naruto ran to her side ignoring the fact that Zabuza was still up. Haku, why did you do that? Please don't leave me. Naruto, I had to protect what was precious to me. I would give anything to stay with you, but my time has come. Time for Naruto seemed to stop and go black. Do you wish to save this person? The voice was deep and foreboding. His vision returned and he found himself before a huge iron gate with a piece of paper holding it shut with the word seal written on it. Looking further into the cage, two crimson eyes can be seen. Standing tall and looking the straight in the eyes, Naruto realized what was before him. You're Kyuubi, aren't you? What do you get in return? Because I know you wouldn't do this for free. The great beast laughed. You're not as stupid as you look, brat. Plain and simple, I want out. But this seal would kill both of us if it were to be released. What's the point if it kills us both? Thoroughly confused, he tilted his head to one side and frowned, which Kyuubi couldn't help but notice the very fox-like gesture. As I was saying before you interrupted me, brat, if you were to modify the seal it would let me pass on to a new life. But to do this you have to father a child. Kyuubi's feral grin made Naruto shiver. I would never sacrifice a child like what was done with me. His eyes flaming with determination. Laughing once more, the great beast lowered its head to Naruto's level. You misunderstand, little one. The child wouldn't be a sacrifice. It will be me. You and this Haku I assume will be my parents, and it will be your job to protect me until I can take care of myself. But for this to work, I need you to accept my power and become a demon. In return, for agreeing to this, I will give the same power to this Haku. She will become a demon just like you. The wound, that is now killing her, would become no more fatal than a mosquito bite. These are my terms, do you accept? When we become demons, what will happen to us? Worry etched on his features. Rearing back in an impossibly loud laugh, Kyuubi smiled down on his jailer. Ah, I see that you are worried that you will become what I was. Fear not, for not all demons are bloodthirsty killers. Some are even protectors, but usually they just keep to themselves. But to answer your question, you will heal at an incredible rate and live for a very long time. In other words, you will become immortal. It is up to you what you do with the power. The fire had returned to Naruto's eyes. I accept on one condition. Oh, and what is this condition? Kyuubi couldn't help but ask, but already knowing what it was. Living in someone's mind for 14 years, you get to know his or her thought pattern. I want your word that you will not harm those precious to me. They are few and far between, but they are all I have. Standing as straight as possible and speaking with confidence, Naruto prepared for a long debate but would not give in. What happened next surprised him. With a chuckle that made Naruto's blood run cold, Kyuubi replied, agreed. Now when you return, you need to cover the seal with your blood and mix blood with Haku. Blood must be able to flow between the both of you. When this is done, push my chakra into both her and the seal. I warn you, this will be painful, but do not pass out. If you do before I'm done, we all die. Now go, time is of the essence. Seeing the sight of Haku beneath him once more, he quickly gets started. Stabbing a kunai through his hand, he covers his stomach with his blood and puts his bleeding hand over Haku's wound, pushing as much of the fox's power into both as he can. While this is happening, Gato appears on the bridge with a small army of thugs with him. So, the demon of the mist is defeated. You're nothing but a little chibi devil. Luckily, I was never going to pay you. See, missing nin are so much easier than ninja from villages to hire because after a missing nin is done, you just have to kill them while they're weak. Double pay to the man that brings me Zabuza's head. With a quick look at each other, Zabuza and Kakashi nod. Kakashi, I see no reason to fight you now, but I still haven't killed anything yet. Say, first one to kill Getu wins. It's at this point everyone stops. Not because of what Zabuza said, but because they can feel the chakra that is coming off Naruto at this time. They look over to see a double helix of chakra spinning around the two teens. Zabuza, we need to end this now. Quickly flying though hand seals, he calls out his technique. Kaden. Karyu Enden, but Zabuza was right with him with a call of Sweden. Suiryuden no Jutsu. Together the two dragons laid waste to Getu's army. The end of the onslaught had eradicated 3/4 of Getu's forces. Zabuza charges in while Kakashi jumps into the air throwing 5 shuriken and whips through a few hand seals shouting, Cage Shuriken no Jutsu, as the 5 metal stars become 15 killing a dozen thugs. Zabuza reaches the horde and proceeds to split 4 men at the waist with each swipe of his massive sword. As he continues his onslaught, he gets struck many times by spears, katana and a hand axe. During this Kakashi rains death upon the horde with shuriken and kunai. Fear fills Getu's eyes as he sees Zabuza burst through the line of thugs in front of him and screams. He tries to run away only to have his left arm cut off, then his right leg. Getu lay as a bloody mess on the floor screaming in unimaginable amounts of pain. Zabuza lifts his sword high and cuts off Getu's head, then bends down to pick it up as Kakashi finishes the last 5 remaining thugs. He sees Naruto still over Haku, so he starts his final steps towards the two knowing that he's about to die from all his wounds. It looks like I win, Kakashi. Chuckling, he tosses the head to Kakashi. Slowly making it over to the other Junin, he notices Naruto breathing deeply and covered in blood, but the thing that astounds him is he can see Haku's wound has been healed. Knowing his life is at an end, he walks over to the boy. Take care of her, boy, or you won't be able to find a place to hide from my vengeance. With that said, his knees gave out and he falls to the ground. You have my word, Zabuza, demon of the mist, said Naruto with such determination in his eyes that Zabuza grinned. I'll hold you to that. And then Zabuza passed from this world to the next. Kakashi, go and help Sasuke and Sakura. They're in a near-death state, he said as he slowly got to his feet carrying Haku bridal style. Right, are you alright? I mean, is he's still sealed. I just kind of took his chakra to heal Haku. I mean, it heals me, so I figured it'd heal her too. I'm just lucky I was right. But now I need to get her to a bed and then get some sleep. With that, he started on his way to Tezuna's home. By the time he was halfway through the village, he saw Tsunami and Inari rush over to him. Are you okay, Naruto? He smiled when he heard Tsunami's motherly tone. Yes, I'm alright. I just need rest. Getu is dead and your father is fine. They're just helping my teammates. After that short decree, he continued to the house with Tsunami and Inari right behind him. He set Haku on a bed and turned to Inari. Could you go see if the others need help? Okay, Naruto, you can count on me. And out the door went the boy, happy to help his new idol. Sitting in the other bed in the room, he turned to Tsunami. Tsunami, I want you to take care of Haku for me. She's not like other people and wouldn't want her secret known. I trust you to keep her secret. With that, he finally gave in to the pain and exhaustion. Tired and cramped, Naruto finds himself staring at the ceiling. Get up, we have things to discuss. The voice was familiar. Looking around, he finds he's in a room that looked like his apartment. On careful inspection, he found a cage not unlike the ones at the Inuzuka dog kennel on one side of the main room. His eyes nearly popped from his head when he saw what was in it. There, sitting looking at him, was a two-tailed fox the size of a pit bull. Kyubi, is that you? What happened to you? He walked up to the cage. Well, it took nearly all my chakra to change both of you. I now have just enough to maintain this form. The beast growled out. So, that means all that chakra is now mine and Haku's. Perking up a little, Naruto smirks. Ha ha ha, no, it was used to change you into demons. Doing this used that chakra and I can't get it back. The seal was designed to take my chakra for you to use, but without a body I can't make more. But it doesn't matter because it wouldn't carry over to my new body anyway, so there's no real loss. You and Haku have the same amount of chakra as before, albeit a little more potent. Naruto could see that it still bothered the fox, and so tried to change the subject. So what did you want? I feel like shit, and if I have the choice of conscious or unconscious, I'd go with number 2. He looks over at the door to his bedroom with longing. Listen, brat, I need you to take a trip when you get back. Seeing that he had Naruto's attention, he continued on. Near Konoha is a chasm. I need you go to the bottom. There you will find a pagoda. Just swipe some blood on both posts and walk beneath it. This was the Kitsune den in Fire Country, but now should be empty. In there are the teachings of the Kitsunes. You will need to study these teachings to awaken your tails. Tails? You said nothing about tails. How do I hide that from the villagers? Haku, she would be hated just like me. Fearful of the actions of the villagers when they find out, he falls onto his couch and covers his face with his arm. Be quiet and listen. Seeing Naruto sit up and look back towards the cage, he grins. You do not have them now because you haven't earned one yet. And by the time you get one, you will know how to hide it, so there is no need to worry. One of the first lessons is the art of Kitsune illusion. We Kitsunes are masters of illusion. As he said this, his eyes narrowed and he grinned with a look of pure mischief. But I at Genjutsu. He once again fell back onto the couch. Snarling, his gaze hardens and his words drip with venom. Do not confuse our power with the human's pathetic attempt to copy our grand art. We Kitsune pride ourselves on the fact that our illusions are an art form. Human genjutsu is sloppy and weak. Even a cage would be hard-pressed to dispel one of our minor illusions. Why are you being so helpful? You're supposed to be one evil mother. Peeking out from under his arm, he looks to the fox. Laughing for the first time since calling him here, Kyuubi can't help but smile. And I am. But why should I piss off the one who is going to be protecting me through my childhood? I'd rather you be in a good mood. Naruto smiles, seeing Kyuubi lighten up a little. Okay, I can see your point. Then a thought hit him. Kyuubi, will you keep your memories when you get reborn? That I do not know. It's not like I have done this before. I don't think anyone has done this before. What would you do if I do forget? Bowing his head, the fox looked at the ground. Naruto could feel the anxiety coming from the fox. Don't worry. We'll care for you like any other child we raise. The softness in Naruto's voice threw Kyuubi for a loop. Not many get a second chance, Kyuubi. I just hope you won't throw this one away. Naruto peered out from under his arm to see the fox trying to look away and decided to spare the beast his pride and move to a different topic. You said the den would be empty. Why is that? Where did the others go? Taken back by Naruto's words, it took the fox a while to respond. The memory of what happened quickly sobered him up. A long time ago, the Kitsune clan was attacked by the Orochi clan. They nearly wiped us out. All that remained of the Kitsunes was Miko, my sister, and I. We never saw eye to eye, so we split up. I stayed in Fire Country, and last I heard she was in Snow Country. But now that you and Haku are Kitsunes, the clan can be reborn. But demons are immortal. How did they die? Naruto's attention now fully on the fox once again. Immortality is not invulnerability. This is a fact you would do well to remember. But for now, it's time for you to wake up. Rolling over in bed, he opens his eyes to find Haku still sleeping in the other bed. Both his and her clothes were folded up and placed next to the beds. Naruto quickly puts on his orange pants and his black undershirt. Looking down on Haku once more, with a small smile, he bends down and kisses her forehead and then exits. He was greeted at the foot of the stairs by an airborne Inari rapidly approaching his person. Bracing for the hit, he manages to keep them both standing. Hey Inari, it wasn't like I was dead. Looking into the main room, he saw that everyone was at the table. Sasuke was his normal brooding self. Sakura was staring at Sasuke. Tsunami was drinking some tea with Tazuna. Kakashi decided to look up from his book at this moment. Hey Naruto, how you feeling? Great sensei. So, how long was I out? Was Naruto's cheerful reply. You were only out for a week. The bridge will be done in 2 days. We'll have to head out once it's complete. As if to signal the end of the conversation, he trained his eye back to his book. Damn it. God damn, I hate chakra exhaustion. Kakashi sensei, we need to talk. Not staying for a response, Naruto walked out the door. Knowing this was coming, Kakashi just followed. When Naruto stopped, they were in a clearing in the woods. He turned to look Kakashi in the eye. Haku is coming with us. Seeing his sensei was about to disagree, he continued, she will be accompanying us to Konoha under my protection. This is non-negotiable. When we arrive in Konoha, Haku and I will have a meeting with the old man. All you need to know now is that he is still sealed and I am fully in control of my own actions. Done with his speech, Naruto headed off back to the house. Naruto, I will allow this, but she's your responsibility. Oh, and it's nice to finally see you. Not even acknowledging Kakashi's statement, Naruto continued to the house. When he entered the house, it was strangely empty. His instincts screamed that there was danger. Quickly running up the stairs and into the room where Haku is resting, what he sees makes his blood run cold. There, standing above Haku, is Sasuke, prepared to strike her with a kunai. Before the Uchiha knew that Naruto had entered the room, he found himself flying through the window. His senses returned to him when his body was submerged into the cold coastal waters of Wave Country. Resurfacing, he looks up to the window he just exited from to see his blonde teammate glaring at him. By the time the Uchiha made it to shore, Naruto was waiting for him. Why? To Sasuke, this Naruto was an unknown. His eyes bore a coldness that made him shiver. His posture was rigid and unwavering, but ready to strike. This Naruto wasn't about bright smiles and lofty dreams. No, this Naruto was the picture of what it is to be a shinobi. He was cold, calculating, and ready to bring a swift death. Too bad Sasuke's pride and ego didn't see the warnings for what they were. She is an enemy and deserves no mercy. She should have died at the bridge with the rest of the scum. His sneer was short-lived as he felt a kunai at his throat. She gave both you and Sakura mercy, but she doesn't deserve it. I dare say you owe her your life. I watched your fight. She had absolute control over you and it terrifies you. Not even your precious Sharingan could save you, could it? How does it feel to be at your enemy's mercy so completely? But you, the coward you are, would strike at someone that can't strike back. Sasuke, if you learn one thing from this encounter, know that I will not tolerate an attack on Haku. Next time, you will not walk away in one piece. As the Naruto in front of him turned back to the house, the one behind him gave him a chop to the neck, knocking him out. Looking up to the roof, Naruto calls out to the figure standing there. I trust you saw that, sensei. Sakura was rambling on, trying to get Sasuke's attention. Finishing his food, Naruto walked into the kitchen to find Tsunami doing the dishes. Setting his dishes in the sink, he asks, Tsunami-chan, let me help you with those. Why, thank you, Naruto-kun, I appreciate your help. Tsunami smiled warmly at Naruto. If you think you can handle these, I'll go give Haku a bath. Worry etching into his voice, Naruto can't help but ask, do the others know? She smiled again. No, Naruto-kun, I've been the one taking care of the both of you. I must say, you'll make a cute couple. His face turned crimson and made a really convincing imitation of a fish as Tsunami broke into a fit of giggles. You know, you might want to know that you both talk while asleep. It was really cute. Regaining what little composure he could, Naruto started in on the dishes. Thanks. With a smile, Tsunami made her way to Haku's room. There, on the bed, was the glowing light blue form of Haku. Trying to keep calm, Tsunami called for Naruto to come up the stairs. Within the time it took to step next to the bed, Naruto was in the room. When he approached the bed, he started to glow as well. Looking at his hands, he saw that he had a golden aura. Looking up, he saw Tsunami look at him with wide eyes. Before he could ask anything, his world turned black and he was suddenly in his mental apartment. Kyuubi, what's wrong? Why are Haku and I glowing? Panic-stricken, Naruto starts pacing. Well, I thought it would take longer, but her body is finally fully converted to that of a demon's. It's nothing to panic over. And for the reason you're glowing as well is because when a demon's aura flares like that, it makes other demons' auras flare as well. This means she'll awaken soon. Now get out here and wait until she wakes up. She'll most likely have lots of questions. As Naruto was about to thank the fox, the world shifted again and he found himself looking at Tsunami. It's okay, Tsunami. It's just an after effect of the way I healed her. She'll wake up soon, so I'll stay here until she does. Looking down at Haku, he notices that her hair has changed to a deep, almost black, shade of blue and the same whisker marks he has. Gently taking her hand into his, he sits by her side. Tsunami smiles at the scene before her. I knew they would make a cute couple. Okay, Naruto-kun, I'll bring up some water and some rice balls for when she wakes. Smiling up at the woman, he can't help but think if his own mother would have been as kind. Thank you again. Eventually Tsunami brought up a tray with the said items. Naruto just sat by Haku's side wondering what she would say. Did I have the right to do this to her? Will she hate me? At the time I didn't think what she would want. I hope she wakes soon. As if on a mental cue, she started to stir. Coming out of his thoughts, Naruto looked down just in time to see her eyes open. Naruto, why are you dead? Haku was surprised when the blonde boy bent down and hugged her tightly. Haku, I'm so glad you're okay. I couldn't let you die. Please forgive me, Haku. His words stopped for they couldn't penetrate his sobs. Looking at him, she smiled. You saved me. How? And where's Zabuza? She felt his grip tighten as she mentioned her mentor's name. Her tears came as she realized her father figure was most likely dead. Zabuza's dead, isn't he? Naruto only nodded and she broke down. After who knows how long, they both regained some composure. Naruto told her what happened after she lost consciousness. He told her about how he promised to take care of her. After calming her down some more, he decided to tell her what he did. Haku, about how I healed you. Do you remember how I said I hold Kyuubi? At this she nodded. Well, he told me I could save you. He told me if I helped him he would make it so you would live. The thing is to do it. He kind of turned us both into Kitsune. Seeing nothing but confusion, he elaborated. He offered to make you and I fox demons. I'm sorry, but it was the only way and I just couldn't lose you. Naruto broke into a sobbing mass, pleading Haku to forgive him. Haku just sat there trying to soak in the situation. Naruto saved me. But Zabuza is gone. Naruto promised Zabuza he would take care of me. Naruto wants me to forgive him. But, why? Naruto, why do I need to forgive you? You saved me. I don't know how to thank you. Naruto, hearing this, looked up at her with hope in his eyes. I thought you would hate me for turning you into a demon. People will hate you now and it's all my fault. Smiling at him, she hugged him. Naruto, you gave me a second chance. My only regret is that Zabuza died. He was like a father to me. But I'm happy you cared enough to save me. They both fell silent for a while, basking in the warmth of their embrace. Eventually curiosity got the better of Haku. Is there any side effects to being a Kitsune? I don't feel any different. Well, I'll get right down to it. We're immortal. Grinning sheepishly, he scratched his head. We heal really fast and our senses should improve. Coming out of her shock, she looks him in the eye. We're immortal, as in not die. Kind of. You see, we can't die naturally. We can still be killed, but it's a lot harder to kill us now because we heal so fast. Making sure she understood the difference, he continued. And your hair and eyes are different colors. At this, Haku hopped off the bed. I'm going to the bathroom, I'll be right back. When she looked in the mirror, she smiled. Her hair was a beautiful dark blue that reminded her of the ocean, and her eyes were a light crystal blue. Slowly she ran her fingers over the new marks on her cheeks to find that they were really sensitive. After grabbing his ninja disguise kit, he stood outside the bathroom door waiting for her reaction. Slowly the door opened and he was happy to see her smiling. I take it the changes aren't too bad. I really like the new colors and the marks are cute. It'll also help keep Hunter Nin off my trail. Hugging him tightly, she led them back to the room she woke up in. So what do we do now? Naruto sat Haku down on the bed and opened his disguise kit. Haku, I'm going to use some makeup to cover your whisker marks. Those marks brand you as a Kitsune. If my village found out, they'd kill you without question. Okay, but they'll find out eventually, you know that, she said as he applied the makeup. He told me of a way to hide it with an impenetrable illusion, but until we learn it, this will have to do. Smiling at his handiwork, he kissed her. After breaking the kiss, Haku asked, so what are we going to do? Sitting on her bed, he pulled her into his lap. Well, I figured I'll bring you to Konoha and get the old man to instate you as a Konoha shinobi. Where will I live? Are you sure they'll accept me? She asked, burrowing her head into his chest. Running his hand through her hair, he smiled. Well, you could live with me, or we could see if the old man could get you your own apartment. And if they don't accept you, we can always just leave. You'd leave your village for me. So are we together then, as in a couple? She looked up into his eyes with a smile on her face. If you're okay with it, I mean, I feel so happy when I'm with you. If it was my choice, I'd never leave your side. Hugging her tightly, he takes her lips with his. She quickly returns his affections, and soon they're lying next to each other as hands start to roam. Breaking the kiss, Naruto looks down at the beautiful figure beneath him. Haku, as much as I'd love to continue this, I think we should tone it down a bit. I wouldn't want to wake everyone up. Quickly rolling on top of him, she settled into his chest. Fine, but I'm taking you as my pillow. Deciding that to argue with her would get him nowhere, he resigns himself to his fate. Haku, there's one last thing you need to know. What is it, Naruto? Looking up into his eyes, she could see it was serious. Naruto sighed. Haku, as the price for helping you, I agreed to giving Kyuubi a second chance at life. My first child will be his reincarnation. He promised me that he wouldn't hurt those I hold precious. Then again, we don't even know if he'll keep his memory. Will you stay with me knowing this? Haku just kissed him lightly. He gave me a second chance, it's only fair that he gets one too. Letting out the breath he was holding, he kissed her back. Thank you, Haku. You have to be the most understanding person I know. She snuggled back into his chest. I love you. I love you too. He wrapped his arms around her and closed his eyes. I could get used to this, was his last thought before he fell asleep. He had been running for hours only to fall into a trap. As he ran into this last alley, he saw the other end sealed off by another mob. Resigned to his fate, Naruto falls to his knees. Why do you hate me? Cried the 5-year-old. Demon spawn like you doesn't have the right to breathe, replied a man as he stepped out from the crowd in front of him. The man kicks him in the head. Tonight you die, demon. The beating that followed was one that would haunt Naruto for years to follow. A figure stepped out of the crowd wearing a Konoha forehead protector. It's time to finish this. Drawing a sword, he makes to split Naruto in half. The boy looked up, just wanting the pain to end. What he saw was a glowing blue hand suddenly sticking out from the man's chest with an Anbu wearing a dog mask behind him. He saw 3 other Anbu taking care of the rest of the crowd. Removing his hand from the corpse, the dog Anbu bent down and picked up the beaten child. The Anbu raced to the hospital. Naruto smiled at the masked ninja. Thanks, doggy-san. With that, the boy lost consciousness. The first thing Naruto noticed when he woke was the warm body wrapped tightly against his. Oh yeah, I could get used to this. Looking down at his blue-haired goddess, he smiled at her as she slowly started to stir. Basking in the warmth, he kissed her forehead. Good morning, Tenshi-chan. Blushing slightly, she kissed him back. Morning Koichi-kun, what are we doing today? Well, first you two need to get dressed and then we help with the bridge. Came Kakashi's voice from the door, and Naruto, I'd like a word with you. Both teenagers turn a ghostly white then commence to turn a new shade of red. Smiling, Kakashi closed the door and walked downstairs. This will most defiantly complicate things. But, then again, if anyone deserves to be happy it's him. Not even 2 minutes after he got a cup of coffee, they both came down the stairs. Kakashi sighs as he saw the glares Sasuke and Sakura were sending the two. Definitely complicates things. Naruto, why did you throw Sasuke out the window yesterday? You should have let him just kill the filthy WH. Before she finished her sentence, Sakura was stopped by the feeling of imminent death that was coming off of Naruto. Still emanating enough killing intent to make Kakashi sweat, Naruto decided to give his one and only warning to his pink-haired teammate. Haruno-san, I will say this once. Haku is under my protection. Any threat or attack against her will be seen as an attack against me. As for the golden boy, he attacked Haku so I defended her. Now, if you will excuse us, I would like to get in a light exercise before heading out to the bridge. Holding Haku's hand, he made his way out the door. Sasuke, Sakura, I have agreed to bring Haku to the Hokage at Naruto's request. Kakashi, having said his piece, moved to the door to have his talk with Naruto. Before he left, Sakura spoke up. Kakashi-sensei, what happened to Naruto? He's acting completely different. Kakashi looked at her and sighed. That's the thing. He's not acting anymore. Remember. Look, underneath the underneath. What you see now is the real Naruto. With that said, he left them to think. When Kakashi exited the house, he was surprised to see Haku teaching Naruto water walking. The trick is to constantly expel enough chakra to offset your weight. Haku stepped onto the water and motioned Naruto to follow. As he stepped out, he sank to his knees but started to rise. You know, that is a Chunin grade exercise, remarked Kakashi as he walked over to them. Naruto, would you join me to talk in private? Whatever needs to be said can be said in front of Haku. I have no secrets with her. He looked the Junin in the eye to make sure he got the point. So be it. Follow me. Without another word, Kakashi jumped into the woods with both teenagers on his heels. Stopping in a clearing a ways from the house, he turned to the two. My first question is, when did this happen? He asked, pointing to the both of them. 2 days before the bridge. Haku found me after I had mastered my latest move and fell asleep. She woke me up and we talked. I told her how I was treated back home, and she comforted me. I had to leave to get back to the house, but we agreed to meet again the next morning. It was then I told her why I was hated, and you know what, she accepted it and told me she didn't hate me for it. She then told me how she was treated the same in Hidden Mist. She was treated just like me, all because she has a bloodline. I think that's when my feelings for her took hold of me. We're so much alike. She then told me she was Zabuza's accomplice. After that, we split ways again and you know the rest. Finishing out with a slight blush remembering their actions that day, Naruto waits for his sensei's response. Seeing the blushing couple, he can imagine what went on besides talking. Okay, I'll buy that one. Question number 2 is Haku's new look. Well, I was hoping I could delay that explanation until we got to the old man, but I'll tell you now. When I healed Haku, I'm willing to bet you felt how much chakra was being used. Getting a nod, he continued, well, I figured that if it heals me, it should heal her. With some well-placed death threats to the fox, I got him to help, but it kind of had a side effect. Seeing worry on Kakashi's face, he put his arms up in defense. Don't worry, he's still behind lock and key. But pushing that much demonic chakra through us kind of made us into Kitsune. You realize if the village finds out, they'll scream for your executions. With a sigh, he leans against a tree to think. I fear one of two things will happen if this gets out, Naruto. 1. The Hokage will be forced to kill you. Or 2. The council will demand for you two to have a controlling seal placed on you and turn you into living weapons. Well, With this one you truly earn you title of most unpredictable ninja in Konoha, that's for sure. Haku chose this moment to speak up. If those are the options I think we'd be better off to take our chances as missing nin. That's an alternative if it comes to it, but for now just keep it a secret. I won't be writing this in the mission report, you don't need any paper trails, replied Kakashi. Well, just so it doesn't come as a surprise when we get back, I'm going to request to be removed from Team 7. This statement shocked Kakashi. Seeing this, Naruto decided to explain. I think if Sasuke and I were to continue to be on the same team, one of us will end up dead. He hates me for just about everything I do. I already knew the tree climbing exercise, but decided to make it seem like I was struggling just to avoid a confrontation and to maintain the Dobby mask. It's nothing against you, I dare say I owe you my life, Doggy-san. Naruto smiled seeing his sensei shocked for the second time today. How many times did your Anbu unit save my life? Collecting himself, Kakashi smiled. More times than I can remember. How did you know it was me though? Giving his patented foxy grin he chuckled. Chidori isn't something you forget seeing. I assume it's your personal technique. Walking over to Naruto, he put his hand on the boy's shoulder. Hi, it's one of the 2 original techniques I have made. Well, we should be heading back. We still have a bridge to help finish. But what we talked about here is not to be repeated. Getting a dual chorus of, hi, he leapt off in the direction of the house. That went a lot better than I thought it would, said Naruto as he followed Kakashi. I'm glad he understood, Haku replied as they sped off. The next morning they were all packed and ready to head out. After a long goodbye ceremony, Team 7 was finally off. Naruto and Haku took point position just to be away from the brooding machine that is Sasuke. About mid-afternoon Naruto stopped. Suddenly a rain of kunai and shuriken flew at Haku only for Naruto to step into the line of fire. Naruto managed to smile at Haku before he popped out of existence. 3 mist hunter nin stood on the road before Haku. We have come for the missing nin known as Haku. Step aside and let us do our job. As the hunter nin finished, 20 Narutos walked out of the forest and grinned. And if I were you, I'd leave while I could. A mist rolled in around the mist nins and the Naruto clones, obscuring everyone's sight of the battle. Kakashi moved to join the fight, but a hand on his shoulder stopped him. Looking back, he saw Naruto behind him. Kakashi, don't all villages use the 4-man teams? Smiling, Kakashi got what Naruto was saying. Hi, one man stays hidden to report back in case of failure. Don't worry, I'll find him. With that, Kakashi fanned out his senses and found what he was looking for. Quickly using Kawarimi with a shadow clone, he began to stalk his prey. The Naruto that had talked to Kakashi now turned to Haku. Haku, could you please take care of this annoying mist? No problem. Haku starts condensing the mist into water and then goes through the seals for her Sensatsu Sushpo. Seeing one of the hunters being distracted by a couple of Naruto clones, she sends her thousands of needles into his vital areas. Sasuke and Sakura both had the same thought. She really could have killed me at any time. The other 2 nins fell when Naruto used Kage Kunai with Bunshin Daibakua. Sasuke's anger flared at the demonstration of Naruto's power. Why does the Dobby have so much power? He doesn't deserve it. That power should be mine. After a minute Kakashi returned. Well, that was fun, but we really need to continue on our way. Sasuke scowled. I'm not leaving until the Dobby tells me where he learned Bunshin Daibakua. He has no right to have such power. Kakashi grinned. So that was what went boom. As for where he learned it, I don't know. As for not deserving it, if he was able to learn it and live, he has every right to that jutsu. You see, it's a kinjutsu because most people tend to blow themselves up trying to learn it. Naruto chuckled. Yeah, the jutsu has a nasty habit of feedback, igniting your own coils. The first time I tried it, I nearly blew up my arm. But so you know, I'm not allowed to reveal where I learned it. Matter of fact, the old man told me not to use it, but I needed to end the fight quickly. Sakura decided to give her 2 cents at this time. Leave it to Naruto to learn something that's suicidal. Kakashi noticed the slight pain that passed in Naruto's eyes. Well, let's get a move on. I'd like to be back in Konoha by noon tomorrow. When they approached the gates the next day, Kakashi waved at the guards. Our mission was successful. Sasuke, Sakura, you have today and tomorrow off. Naruto, Haku, please follow me to the Hokage's office. Haku couldn't help but feel Naruto's pain as they walked through the village. So much hate was directed at him. She was jolted from her thoughts as they entered a building and climbed some stairs leading to a waiting room with a secretary and 2 Anbu guarding a set of large ornate doors. Kakashi walked up to the Anbu and nodded to them. Team 7's mission is a success. I've come to give the Hokage my report. The Anbu just nodded and let them through the large doors. Ah, Kakashi, Naruto, welcome back. And who is the young lady behind you? Asked the aged figure behind the desk. Naruto waited until the door was shut. Hey old man, we need to have a talk, just the 4 of us. Okay Naruto. The Hokage went through a couple of seals and then the walls, ceiling and floor glowed for a brief second. Now Naruto, what is so important that you wanted the privacy jutsu? Naruto looked at the Hokage with a face that said he was dead serious. What's said in this room is not to be repeated or written. Naruto sat in one of the chairs and then commences to tell the Hokage everything that happened with the same adjustments he told Kakashi. The old man lit up his pipe. So, you and Haku here are Kitsune. Sighing, he blew out some smoke. Well, you definitely make my job interesting, I'll give you that. I agree that Haku would make an excellent addition to our forces, but as for changing teams, I don't know. Naruto smiled. Say old man, how much does the council want to get rid of me? The Hokage scowled. You know they've been after your head since birth. Naruto's smile turned into a fiendish grin. Is there any Junin that they want to get rid of just as badly? I figure the council would love to put all the rotten eggs into one basket, and the fact I might corrupt the golden boy of an Uchiha should be enough to help push them into agreeing. The Hokage looked out the window. You know they'd push me to give such a group suicide missions. And I'm counting on you to hold them off long enough for us to get some training in our new abilities. Naruto laughed a little. You know, I've been told that the Kitsune clan was the greatest of the demon clans. I've also been told where to find an abandoned den with the training scrolls we need. I trust this information for one reason. He knows that I can kill us both at any moment. I didn't learn Bunshin Daibakua to kill my enemies, I learned it as a way to kill myself. Since that fact has arisen, he has been very compliant. The Hokage looked over to Naruto. I'll give you a week. By the end of the week your new Junin sensei will be back from her mission. I'm assuming you want Haku with you, but you need a 3rd genin, so I'll be assigning one. Haku will be living with you unless she has any complaints. Looking over at Haku, he saw the blush that crept up her face, but she nodded. Good. Now I have lots of paperwork. Naruto and Haku, you are dismissed, but I expect you to be back here in a week. Today is Tuesday, so be here next Wednesday at 10 a.m. With a dual chorus of, "Hi," they were gone. Kakashi looked over to the Hokage. So when are you going to tell him about his parents? Looking at the picture of the 4th, he sighed. I was going to tell him when he hit Chunin. The exams are in a month, so we will see how he does. Kakashi got up from his seat. Oh, who is going to be their new sensei? The Hokage smiled. I believe Anko-chan would be able to handle him. Kakashi balked. Her. You know she'll never agree to this. As Naruto and Haku walked out of the administration building, their stomachs growled. Naruto grinned. How about we grab some lunch? I know the absolute best place for ramen. Haku smiled back. Okay, lead the way. Grabbing her hand, he made it to Ichiraku's in record time. Behold that which is ramen. Hey, old man, 3 bowls of miso. The old ramen slinger smiled. Same for me, please. When Haku looked over at a surprised Naruto, she blushed slightly. What? I'm hungry. Ah, Naruto, you found yourself a fine girlfriend. First round is on the house to celebrate. The old man laughed seeing the young couple blush. Hearing the commotion, Ayame came out from the back. Ah, Naruto, you're being rude. When are you going to introduce your girlfriend? Naruto smiled at Ayame. Ayame ne-san, Tsuki Jiji, this is Haku-chan. I met her in Wave Country. Haku bowed. It's nice to meet you both. Well, any friend of Naruto's is welcome here anytime. Here's your ramen. The owner placed 3 bowls in front of each of them. With a dual chorus of, Itadakimasu. They started their meal. By the end of their lunch they had given an edited but energetic rendition of Naruto's mission to Wave. Saying their goodbyes, they headed off to Naruto's apartment. When Haku entered the apartment she looked around. It was small but not necessarily cramped. It was a little run down but clean. There was a kitchen, dining room, living room, a bathroom with the bare essentials and the bedroom. Sitting on a mangled but surprisingly comfortable couch she smiled. This is nice, kind of cozy. Naruto smiled. I'm glad you like it. Would you like some tea? He asked, already setting the water. Yes, thank you. So, what do you usually do on your time off? She asked. Getting the tea out of a cupboard, he sighed. I really only ever studied or trained. Maybe planned the occasional prank. Sorry if that seems boring. Not at all, it's not like I did much different when I was with Zabuza. Naruto could feel the sorrow in her voice. He set a cup down on the coffee table in front of her. You miss him badly. She just bowed her head and nodded. Sitting down on the couch he hugged her. As if a dam broke, her tears came. Naruto held her as she cried into his chest, trying to comfort her any way he could think of. I've been waiting for her to let herself mourn. I just wish I could make this easier for her. After an hour or so, Haku calmed down. Neither of them felt the need to break the comfortable silence they'd fallen into. They just sat there enjoying the moment. That is until there was someone knocking at the door. Damn it, no one's ever visited me before, so why now? Grumbling, he unwillingly left the couch to see whom his visitor was. On the other side of the door was none other than the copy ninja Kakashi. Kakashi, what are you doing here? Kakashi gave one of his patented eye smiles. I came to give you a departing gift and Haku her new Hitai-ite. Stepping in after Naruto motioned him in, he bowed slightly to Haku. Welcome to the Leaf, Haku, I hope you keep Naruto in line. Naruto growled. Hey, what's that supposed to mean? Kakashi turned to his former pupil. Remind me who laced all the teacher's bathroom toilet paper with itching powder. Seeing Naruto grin sheepishly, he grinned and handed him 2 scrolls. These are for you, Naruto. The first scroll is a chakra training exercise given to me by my sensei. I'd like you to have it now. The second scroll explains how to use these. Kakashi then handed him 6 pieces of paper that kind of looked like exploding tags, but the seals were different. And finally this, he pulled out a familiar orange book. This will teach you all you need to know about being a man. Suddenly, there was a loud squeal and the book was gone. Oh my god, this is a first edition copy of Ika Ika Paradise. I never got to read this one. Haku was on the couch with said book practically drooling. Kakashi's grin was a mix of perverted and proud. So you know the glory of Ika Ika. Haku suddenly turned so red you'd think she'd pop. With a guilty grin she hid the book behind her. No. Both Kakashi and Naruto fell to the floor laughing. Turning a darker red she suddenly stood up and balled her fists. So what? It's well written and the plot's addictive. Eventually catching his breath, Kakashi got off the floor. Ah, yes. I believe you're a lucky man, Naruto. I'd love to stay and chat, but I have to meet up with some fellow Junin. I guess I'll see you around. With a wave and a poof he was gone. Turning to Haku, Naruto grinned. So, Haku, I didn't know you were a pervert. I guess that was the reason you were so skilled that first morning. Deciding that that was enough teasing, he motioned for her to settle down. Just remember not to get it messy. I'd like to read it after you. Figuring the exercise can wait, he opened the scroll explaining the tags. Haku noticed him turning red and looked up with a questioning look. I'm going to kill that perverted bastard. He then looked over to Haku and remembered how loud she was their first time. Then I'll thank him. Haku just tilted her head to the side. Why? Naruto grinned. These, holding up the tags, are soundproofing tags. You put one on each wall and on both the ceiling and the floor and no sounds are able to leave the room. Seeing recognition and a lecherous grin cross Haku's face, Naruto couldn't help but get aroused. Haku got up from the couch, the book forgotten for the moment. She sauntered over to the door to the bedroom. So how long will it take to set up? Naruto had the tags up and set in a blur of speed. He looked over to his lover as she dropped her kimono to the floor. He walked up to her and wrapped his arms around her waist. You have the beauty of a goddess. She looked him in the eye. And I say you're wearing too much. She pulled off his shirt and he captured her lips. Their hands roamed each other's torsos for a while. Her hands soon found their next target and his pants fell to the floor. Naruto's hands squeezed her, pulling them together more tightly. He could feel her hardness against his own. Haku pulled him onto the bed, making sure to end up on top. She kissed her way to his ear. I'm done playing, time to get started. He groaned as she squeezed his. Besides, I'm feeling slightly parched. By the time his mind comprehended what she had said, her mouth was already on him. Naruto moaned as she licked him base to tip. God, Haku, you're so good at this. She looked up at him and smiled around his. The sight was so erotic he nearly lost it. But there's no need for you to be left out. Without letting go of her snack, she moved so he was able to please her, and that he did. He started with her slit, licking and ing, eventually finding his way to her clit using his fingers to keep her whole happy. This caused her to moan while deep-throating him, causing him to groan, trying to hold back his release. Deciding he had to pick up his pace, he left her womanhood with his capable hands and kissed and nipped his way to the head of her hardness. As he took her into his mouth, he rubbed her clit with his thumb, causing her to writhe in pleasure. Knowing he wasn't going to last much longer under her ministrations, he took her all the way in. Within seconds they were both lost in their mutual orgasm. When she came down enough to think, Haku moved so she was sitting on his hips, rubbing the underside of Naruto's with her nether lips. Bending over, she nibbled on his ear. I'm ready for the main attraction. With a mischievous grin, he flipped her so he was on top. That's good because I want to try something. With some quick hand seals, he whispered, Ryaru Henjiru, real transformation. Haku gasped as Naruto's figure shifted to that of a curvaceous female. Haku gasped as Naruto rubbed her the same way she had him. This is one of the kinjutsu I learned. It's forbidden because it uses lots of chakra, and if you pass out it doesn't dispel. Raising himself, he put Haku at his entrance. And now I give myself to you. With that, Naruto took Haku to the base. Haku saw the tears fall down Naruto's cheeks and rose to embrace him. I didn't think it would hurt that badly. Haku rubbed his back and kissed him. Don't worry, it gets much better. Trying to take his mind off the pain, she took one of his nipples into her mouth. Soon he was moaning and she could feel him getting wetter. Are you ready? He nodded and slowly moved up. The feeling was indescribable. Haku guided him up with her hands on his hips and then she pulled him back down. They both were soon lost in the newfound pleasures. Naruto mewled as he felt her pull out, only to moan loudly as she thrust back in. The sensation of being filled overwhelmed him. Haku was also reeling at the new sensations. His velvety core seemed impossibly tight. Every time she pulled back, it ed her right back in. Their bodies seemed to move as one in an age-old ritual of love and lust. Haaaaakuuu. Naruto screamed as he felt an orgasm hit him like it never had before. She kissed him hard as she pounded away. Naruto fell back trying to breathe while Haku continued her merciless assault. He was soon gasping for breath, approaching the heavenly peaks once more. With a final hard thrust, Haku drove herself into the hilt, biting down on Naruto's neck, releasing her seed deep within him. Naruto arched his back and let out a silent scream as he climaxed, feeling her essence fill his being. Haku collapsed onto her lover, panting. They soon both fell into a deep slumber. Naruto awoke to someone snickering off to the side. Have fun. I dare say you nearly died from pleasure overload. Naruto opened his eyes to see that he was on the couch in his mind. Damn. It was totally different. We'll be doing that again. Kyuubi snickered some more. And here I thought you were going to be my father. At this Naruto raised an eyebrow. Kyuubi couldn't hold back his laughter. Haha. You think haha that you can change your haha and not suffer the consequences haha of unprotected. Haha. That's too rich. Naruto's face turned ghostly white. You mean I'm pregnant? Calming down, Kyuubi decided he had scared the teen enough. No, but if you stay in that form long enough it will start the menstrual cycle. Be glad that it takes a couple of weeks to start up. The color returned to Naruto's face. Thanks for the warning. That's one part of being female I don't think I want to try. Kyuubi suddenly became more serious. She's ready, you know. Seeing the look of confusion on his jailer's face, he elaborated. She's ready to conceive. Naruto bowed his head. I don't know if she's ready for that yet. I mean, we're not even married. Kyuubi grinned. Yes, you are. It was said with such finality that it shattered Naruto's current thoughts. What do you mean we're married? I don't remember getting married, and that is something I don't think I would forget. The fox's grin widened. You remember how you marked her the first time you did it? Naruto nodded. Well, in your most recent session she marked you in return. That is the Kitsune equivalent to marriage. You are now bound together for eternity. Naruto shook his head. I can't believe I'm married. I hope Haku doesn't mind. Kyuubi chuckled. I think she'll be overjoyed. And personally I don't think you could have found a better mate if you tried. Now you need to wake up and go to the den. When you get there I'll contact you and tell you what you need to do. Naruto woke up to light shining on his face. Grunting, he tried to roll over only to fail. Something warm and soft was lying on his chest, using his as a pillow. Since when do I have? Oh yeah, I used that last night. I absolutely never thought I would use that jutsu in that way when I learned it from the Forbidden Scroll. I'm glad I took the time to copy multiple techniques down before learning Kage Bunshin. His mental rambling was put on hold when Haku began to stir. That's when he noticed the mark on her shoulder. It looked like 9 foxtails twisted into a spiral with a 10-point star in the middle. Koishi, what are you looking at? Haku's voice broke him from his thoughts. Tenshi, I was looking at the mark one gave you. Haku's face scrunched in confusion. Go look in the mirror and find out what I mean. When Naruto suggested she go look, he didn't think he'd be dragged along for the trip. Haku looked into the mirror to see the symbol of their union. It's so pretty. She looked over at Naruto's reflection and noticed he had one too. Naruto, you have one too. Where did they come from? At her question she noticed him blush. Coughing, he looked down. Well, you see, remember the first time we made love? Haku just nodded, waiting for the rest. Well, that was the start of it. You see, when a kitsune bites another kitsune's neck, it's kind of like a proposal. Last night you bit me, that was like you accepting my proposal. Kyuubi told me this last night after we passed out. I hope you aren't mad. Her smile made his fears wash away. I couldn't be happier, was all that she said before pulling her husband into a passionate embrace. It was during this embrace that he remembered he was still in his female form. Of course, having a very erect portion of Haku rub against a very sensitive bundle of nerves will do that. Without breaking the embrace, he reached over and turned on the hot water. After the water got to a suitable temperature, he pulled his new wife into the shower. Haku took the initiative and pressed Naruto against the wall and entered him with one smooth motion, causing him to moan into their kiss. Haku made the pace slow and steady no matter how much Naruto tried to speed it up. The slowness was driving him insane. He whimpered and mewed, but she wouldn't speed up. Figuring two can play this game, he ran one of his hands down her back and between her legs. He found that he was just barely able to reach her slit and started to rub it with a slow circular motion. Haku was trying to savor the feeling of being in Naruto's tight nether regions, but he had to go and play dirty. Deciding to pick up the pace, she started to push harder and move faster. Naruto did the same, and soon they moaned into each other's mouths as they climaxed together. Panting heavily, Naruto was the first to catch his breath. As much as I'd love to continue this, we need to find the den today. Dispelling the jutsu, he returned to his male form. And next time it's your turn against the wall. Haku gave him what had to be the widest smile he had ever seen, promise. As a testament to his willpower, he kissed her mark, which weakened her knees from the pleasure it gave. I never go back on my word. He then stepped out of the shower and grabbed 2 towels and handed one to Haku as she turned off the water and stepped out. God, it's so tempting to just take her all day long. It was a thought that reminded him of what Kyuubi said. They had made their way back into his room. Making sure the tags were still working, he decided it was now or never. Hey Haku, he was wondering if you're ready to let him out. At first she didn't understand him, and then it hit her. I don't know. I mean, aren't we kind of young to have a child? It's not to say I won't, but could we support and protect him at this point in our lives? They both sat on the bed. I wish I could talk to him. Naruto got an idea. Hold on for a sec. Naruto closed his eyes. Hey, we need to talk. He felt the slight disorientation that comes with moving to his mindscape. Hey, Fox, is there a way Haku can talk to you directly, because this back and forth will get real annoying? Kyuubi looked as if he was deep in though. Well, the only way I can think of is if we swap places, but I doubt you want to do that. Naruto eyes lit up. Is there a way I could swap the consciousness of one of my clones with yours for a little while? Kyuubi grinned. I knew you weren't as dumb as I thought. That just might work. When making the clone, pull on my chakra and I'll do the rest. Naruto came out of his mind and smiled at Haku. We have a plan, just hold on a sec. He quickly made the hand seal and pulled at Kyuubi's chakra. With a poof of red smoke, there was a tiny fox kit. Hey, why are you so small? The fox growled. If I was any bigger, it might alert the wrong people to my chakra being used. We don't need any ninja barging in trying to kill you, do we? Looking over to Haku, he jumped into her lap. So, you wanted to talk, Kasen? He purred out the Kasen. It got the reaction he was looking for, as Haku blushed crimson. Fighting away her blush, she fought back. Yes, I did, Isoku. As she said this, she scratched his ears. I wanted to talk about our deal. Is there any reason for us to hurry? I just think it would be better to wait until we can properly protect you and care for you. Genin mission pay isn't much to live on. The fox in her lap just mewed in pleasure. Seeing the great Kyuubi reduced to such by just a simple scratch behind the ears, Naruto snickered. Kyuubi growled at Naruto. You try being locked away for 14 years without physical contact. He then turned to Haku, and to answer your question, yes. The seal is unstable right now. I say it has about 3 months max before it breaks, killing both me and the blonde wonder. The mood in the room instantly changed. Naruto glared at the fox. And when were you going to tell me this? I was hoping it'd be taken care of naturally. The fox grumbled. And it would have too if you didn't have to go all kinky gender swap. At this comment, Naruto blushed, and was about to yell at the fox, but Haku beat him to it. What do you mean? Kyuubi looked up at Haku. I can tell by your aura. And the fact you've been running like you're in heat helps. You're going to have to learn that your instincts actually mean something eventually. Haku took a minute to process this. Okay, the Chunin exams are up in a month. After we pass, we can do it. Kyuubi bowed his head. Unfortunately, that's not an option. The demon cycle is longer than the human one. After this heat, you won't get another for a century. Naruto bowed his head. I'm sorry about this, Haku. Haku lifted his head up and looked him in the eyes. It's not like I'm mad or anything. I'm just not looking forward to being a walking blimp for 9 months. You mean 4. Kyuubi corrected. Demons grow faster too, so it won't be that bad. And we age faster in our younger years. Naruto looked down at the fox in shock. Just how fast are we talking? Kyuubi took on a thoughtful pose. I think it's around 4 times as fast as human growth. I could be wrong, there wasn't been a Kitsune child in over a millennia. Haku and Naruto's jaws dropped at this revelation. But that only lasts for 5 years or so, and then the aging process comes to a halt. Haku looked down at Kyuubi with a sad face. So you only have a 3-year childhood? Kyuubi looked back towards Haku. You know the average fox only lives for 3 years. I dare say we make out like bandits. Naruto looked at the clock. Well, it's nearly noon, we should be going soon if we want to get to the chasm by nightfall. Jumping down, Kyuubi stretched his legs and looked at Naruto. Well, it's back to the cramped confines of your head. And so Naruto pulled the consciousness of the Kyuubi back into his mind and dispelled the clone. It took them a little while to pack a couple of things, but soon they were out the door and a while later out of the Konoha gates. After about a good hour of travel, Haku stopped. Hey Naruto, can you call out Kyuubi? Naruto looked confused but did as he was asked. With a poof of red smoke, the figure of a normal-size fox appeared before them. Did you need something, Kasen? Once again he purred out the word Kasen. She just smiled. No, I just figured you'd like to walk around a little. The fox grinned. You're oh so thoughtful, Kasen, thank you. And so they traveled on. By nightfall they had made it to the chasm. As Naruto looked over the edge, he kicked a rock down and whistled. Damn, that's deep. How are we supposed to get to the bottom? At this the fox grinned. You jump, of course. They both looked at the fox like he was an alien from another dimension. Don't worry. The entire chasm floor has seals that make the stop not so sudden for those of Kitsune blood. Besides, would I lie to you? Remember, if you die so do I. Naruto looked over the edge again. Haku, you wait up here. I'll leave a buncheon with you. If it doesn't disappear in 10 minutes, jump down, okay? Haku looked over to Naruto and smiled. Have you no faith? Was the only thing she said as she jumped. Kyuubi snickered. I think Kasen has more balls than Tusen. Naruto glared at the fox before dispelling it and jumping. Once he got past the fear of dying, he found the sensation of free falling was quite exhilarating. And true to the fox's word, he hovered above the ground for a second before dropping the last couple feet. Damn, I want to go again. He heard giggling from behind him and found Haku about 10 feet away from him, standing next to an old red pagoda. You can later. First, how do we get in? All I see is this pagoda. He walked up to it and pulled out a kunai. Like most things sealed, it takes blood. He then sliced open his hand and rubbed his blood on both pillars. When he withdrew his hand, the space between the pillars rippled before it showed a dark foyer-like room. Naruto stepped to the side, bowing. After you, my lady. After they'd both entered, 2 candles on each wall lit up. Looking around, they found a place for the storage of coats and footwear. Quickly taking off their sandals, they walked over to the only other exit to the room besides the pagoda they came through. Naruto looked at the intricate door in front of him. It was inlaid with many different scenes. He pushed on it hard to get it to open. Beyond the massive door lay a huge meeting hall. It had to be at least the size of the academy. There were many huge stone pillars with intricate inlaid scenes holding up the ceiling. At the far end was a raised dais with 5 levels. 2 huge cushions lay on the highest level, with 2 more cushions on each side of a red velvet rug that led from the floor to the highest level, making a grand total of 18. Behind the cushions on the highest level was a massive gong. Deciding that it couldn't hurt, Naruto climbed the dais to ring the gong while Haku was looking at one of the massive pillars. When she turned to look for him and saw what he was about to do, she started to call for him to stop, but it was too late as he had already begun his swing. The gong let loose a powerful bang that stirred deep within their souls. Haku was about to yell at Naruto for fooling around when a massive pillar of snow whirled in the center of the hall. Kyuubi. How dare you call me? When the snow faded from view, there stood what had to be the second most beautiful woman Naruto had ever seen. His opinion was slightly biased, as he thought no one could match his Tenshi's beauty, but this woman was close. Her hair was as white as fresh snow and her eyes were a crisp, light violet. Her skin was almost as pale as her hair. She wore a white silk kimono with snowflakes along the edges that showed off her generous curves in a conservative but wise way. Tucked into her dark blue obi was a very ancient-looking katana. Just looking at it he could tell it held great power. He then noticed her white fox ears and 8 white tails. This must be Kyuubi's sister, Miko. Naruto quickly hid the mallet behind his back. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call Miko-sama, honest. The look of rage on her face quickly changed to one of confusion. Who are you? How did you get in here? And how do you know my name? Deciding that answering her questions was in the best interests of his health, he answered truthfully. I am Uzumaki Naruto. He points to Haku, is my wife Haku. Kyuubi told us that we should come here to learn how to use our Kitsune powers, and Kyuubi told me the only other Kitsune left besides him was his sister Miko, which I assumed was you. Haku walked up to the woman and bowed deeply. Please forgive Naruto. He sometimes does things without thinking it though. Naruto put down the mallet and climbed down the dais to stand next to Haku and bow. Okay, now tell me where my baka brother is so I can beat him into a pulp. Naruto gulped. You see he is kind of in me. Seeing her waiting for an explanation, he continued. You see, 14 years ago he attacked the ninja village of Konoha. He laid waste to a good portion of the outlying forest but was stopped by the 4th Hokage. The 4th, using the Shiki Fuin, sealed Kyuubi within me the day I was born. I can call him out but he's not going to like it. Miko growled. Well, hurry up and call him. With a sigh he pulled on Kyuubi's chakra and the familiar red poof left a cowering two-tailed Kyuubi. Imouto, it's nice to see you. How you been? Miko's grin nearly split her face. Oh how you have fallen, AK. To think, a human bested you. And now look at you, reduced to that of a puppet, being forced to serve your jailer. I should kill you both now to wipe your dishonor from our once noble clan. Naruto and Haku paled upon hearing this but dared not move. Kyuubi growled and crouched as if to pounce. You touch him and I swear I'll find a way back to kill you myself. Miko scowled. You would defend the one that binds you. Kyuubi grinned. He had no choice in his role as jailer and I do not hold a grudge against him. He has proven himself to be honorable and loyal. Why else would I induct him and his mate into the Kitsune clan? They will be our future. Unlike you, I've been trying to revive our clan. Tell me, what have you been doing all these centuries? That's right, hiding in snow country with your tails between your legs. At least I took our revenge against the Orochi clan. Her shock was written across her face, but it soon gave way to rage. How dare you? Mere humans do not deserve the right to be among us. Or did you forget it was with the humans' help that the Orochi clan was able to attack us? Kyuubi bowed his head. Imouto, your hate has blinded you. You judge him by actions he did not commit. Give them a chance and I guarantee they will surprise you, especially Naruto. Her gaze turned to Naruto. I will fight you. If I do not deem you worthy you will die along with your mate. Naruto was instantly snapped out of his fear. You touch her and I'll use your tails as a coat. He crouched down into an offensive stance. His aura flared gold and his eyes became slits and turned gold. Deciding not to wait for an invitation, he leapt at her. Seeing the attack coming, she swung her sword to split him in two. Her eyes widened when his body poofed into smoke. Feeling an attack coming from her rear, she jumped to the side. When she saw Naruto, she noticed a band of glowing kanji around his wrist. Suddenly she was surrounded by 20 Naruto clones. She grinned. It'll take a lot more than clones to hurt me, boy. 10 Naruto clones lunged at her at once. With a swipe of her sword their attack was stopped, but instead of poofing out of existence they began to glow. Her eyes widened again in recognition. She tried to dive out of the way but it was too late as the explosion sent her into one of the massive pillars hard. He didn't let up his attack as 5 more moved into attack. Knowing that the clones would explode, she made sure to move after striking them. She grinned. That was a surprise, but don't think it will work again. After dispatching a countless amount of clones, she was getting annoyed, but when she moved after dispatching a group of 5 clones, she heard Cage Fuma Shuriken, and lo and behold, she found herself dodging massive shuriken coming from somewhere overhead. After the rain of metal ceased, she found herself in the middle of a field of glowing Fuma Shuriken. Her thought before they exploded was obvious. This is going to hurt. She quickly jumped, trying to lessen the damage. The explosion pushed her up faster, only to have a fist connect to her face hard, making her plummet to the ground. With a groan, she got to her feet. I'll admit you're good, but it's over. Naruto landed a good 10 feet away, panting. She won't stay down. All these explosive bunshin have taken nearly all my chakra. Then he made the mistake of looking into her eyes. Suddenly, he found himself in a sakura orchard. Miko stepped out from behind a tree. This game is done. No one survives my Kitsune Kanbu, Shinikuin. Fox Sword Dance. Orchard of Death. Suddenly he was being attacked from all sides. She would come from one tree, strike him, and disappear behind another before he could block. It reminded him of Haku's Makio Hyo show. By the end of the attack, he felt pain all throughout his body. On the outside, Haku was confused. They just looked at each other, and suddenly Naruto seemed as if he was in tremendous pain. Seeing her confusion, Kyuubi explained, she's using one of her favorite Kitsune illusions. She calls it Kitsune Kanbu, Shinikuin. The opponent is trapped in an illusionary world where she attacks them relentlessly. The attacks don't cause physical damage but damage the chakra system. If it's damaged enough, he won't be able to move, let alone heal. This is why this technique is feared even by demons. I didn't think she would use this on him. Naruto fell to his knees after the illusion was released. Seeing Miko laugh at him, his rage flared. Through sheer willpower he stood. Miko scowled. Admit defeat. If you don't, I will kill you. Naruto grinned. You don't know me, or else you would know I never give up. He shakily stepped towards Miko. She was surprised he could still move. When he made it within 3 feet of her, he fell to his knees again. I won't let you hurt Haku. He stared, making familiar hand seals slowly, and started to glow. She was taken aback by what he was about to do to protect his mate. She quickly knelt in front of him and stopped his seals. It's okay, the battle is over. You proved yourself worthy. He smiled before collapsing into her arms. Haku rushed over to help. He'll be fine, child. Miko went through some hand seals and her hands started to glow an eerie green. She was soon done. She looked for Kyuubi to have him show Haku to one of the sleeping quarters, but realized that with Naruto passed out, Kyuubi returned to the seal. Follow me, little one, Miko ordered as she carried Naruto down a hallway. As she laid him down in Kyuubi's old room, she thought, he'll make a fine addition to the clan. At this time she finally took the time to look at Haku. Where do you come from, little one? Haku bowed. I was born in the land of mist, Miko-sama. Miko waved at her. No need to be so formal. Tell me, do you have the Hyoden blood limit? Fear crossed Haku's eyes. Why do you want to know? Miko smiled at the poor girl. Don't worry. It was actually I who gave your ancestors that ability. They had helped me and I gave them power over water in all its forms as a gift. I thought they were completely wiped out. I'm glad to see I was wrong. Haku looked at Miko. How could you tell? Miko laughed. I could tell by the feel of your aura. Your aura gives off a feeling of the element you're aligned to. That and the Hyoden element being extremely rare, it was easy to guess. Well, I'm going to get some sleep. I suggest you do the same. Tomorrow, I'm going to want to see how good your Hyoden skills are. Miko left and Haku nestled into bed next to Naruto. Good night, Koichi. Naruto felt good. That was all he knew at the moment. He was in bliss and didn't want to leave. Haku was horny, so horny in fact that she couldn't wait for Naruto to wake up and decided to take liberties with her lover's morning condition. She was currently seeing how many different noises she could make him make. Sadly, her game came to an end, but she was rewarded by her newest favorite snack. Naruto woke when he hit his peak. When the sensations died down, he looked down to see his Tenchi smiling at him with his hard-on still halfway in her mouth. With an audible pop, his sprang from its confines and watched as Haku swallowed her well-deserved treat. He was about to make a comment, but she flew onto him and kissed him lustfully. She positioned his manhood at her opening and nibbled her way to his ear. "I need you." With that said, she wasted no time. He was turned on by her aggressiveness and soon was thrusting in time with her bouncing, moaning her name as she screamed his. In the next room, Miko was less than pleased. She had been awoken by the sounds coming from next door. She grumbled as she made her way to the shower. What surprised her was they were still at it when she had finished. Once again grumbling, she got dressed and stomped off to find something to eat. Naruto let out one last primal roar, releasing his seed deep within his mate for the 5th time that morning. Haku also climaxed with one final scream. At some point they had slipped into their more demonic forms. His back was a maze of claw marks that were finally starting to heal now that Haku had stopped raking his back, and Haku's hips started to heal where Naruto had sunk in his claws for a better grip. Neither felt the pain as the adrenaline and pleasure still racked their bodies as they collapsed into a pile. Neither noticed the red glow in Haku's stomach die down. After a good while to calm down and bask in the post-orgasm afterglow, they noticed the state of the bed. It was soaked with blood, sweat and their essence. Naruto couldn't contain his grin. That was intense. That had to be the most enjoyable morning workout I've ever had. Wobbling slightly as she stood, Haku smiled. Then she realized they'd have to clean up the mess. "Koishi, throw out the sheet. I'm going to take a shower. We'll have to ask Miko about where to clean the futon." Naruto removed the sheets and tossed them in the trash. "Can't you just blast it with some water? I mean, that's your thing, right?" In the bathroom, Haku grinned. She waited until Naruto lifted the futon and flew through some hand seals. All Naruto had for a warning was Haku calling out, "Suiryuden," before a water dragon about the width of a basketball slammed into the futon, pinning him between it and the wall. Once the jutsu had finished, Haku pulled all the water from the bedroom back into the tub. "Yes, I guess I can." Haku tried to hold back her laughter seeing the futon fall, leaving a slightly miffed Naruto standing. With a battle cry, he tackled his assailant and commenced his torture. Haku soon fell prey to his fingers dancing across her sides as she fought to breathe between laughs. Having decided she had enough, he pulled her to her feet and into the shower. After an impromptu make-out session and some heavy petting, they finished and dressed. They instantly got a feeling of foreboding as they found the kitchen to see Miko leaning against the counter sipping on a cup of tea. "I hope you enjoyed yourselves, because you were both loud enough to wake the dead. You sure as hell didn't spare my ears. That's not something one wants to wake up to hearing in the room next to them. And just so you know, I've been waiting for you to finish for over an hour." During her rant, the couple had gotten progressively redder as she went on. "Now call out my baka brother and we'll start your training." Naruto, not wanting to anger her further, reached for the chakra of Kyuubi only to find it missing. "Hey Kyuubi, what gives?" Not receiving a response, he grew worried. "I can't feel his chakra, and he won't answer my calls." Quickly he lifted his shirt and tried to make the seal appear. "The seal is gone, that means." He looked at Haku. She was wide-eyed and holding her stomach. Miko was worried. Yes, her brother has An, but he was still her brother. "What do you mean it's gone? If he's not in you, where is he?" Haku looked over to Miko. "He's in me." Seeing Miko's confusion, Naruto explained. "Well, it's a long story, but about 2 weeks ago Haku was about to die. We had just found each other, but I knew I loved her. Then Kyuubi told me he could save her, but there was a price." Seeing he had Miko's undivided attention, he continued, "His price was freedom, but the only way out was if I had a child. He said his soul would move to it before it got one. I agreed, and now we're going to be his parents. Sadly, we don't know if he'll remember us or not." The room fell silent for a long time. Eventually Miko looked over to Haku. "How do you feel about this?" Haku snapped out of her thoughts and smiled. He gave me a second chance to be with the one I love. It's only fair that I return the favor. I'll admit I'd never thought I'd be a mother at all, let alone so soon, but I'm happy. It came as a surprise when he told us how fast Kitsune grow. I think it's sad that he'll only have 3 years for his childhood. I plan on trying to make his childhood the happiest I can. At this Miko scoffed. My brother was always a child. He didn't act his age until after the Orochi attacked. Naruto chose to speak up at this time. It'll be hard raising a child at our age, but we'll manage. My only regret is that I never asked him why he attacked Konoha. Miko grinned and a mischievous glint shined in her eyes. If you want the answer to that, I can show you where he kept his diary. I don't think we should pry into his personal life like that, came Haku's solemn reply, but it was too late. Miko bolted to her brother's room with Naruto pulling Haku with him right behind her. When she got there, she went to the back left corner and did some seals. A piece of the wall moved to the side to reveal 2 massive scrolls. What shocked Naruto was one had the Uchiha symbol with the kanji for fox over it. Miko grabbed the other scroll and opened it to the last entry. Let's see, it says, today I travel back to Konoha to pick up my new apprentice. It's taken centuries, but my servants, the Uchiha, have finally produced a child that is worthy to be a Kitsune. This Itachi, he shows much potential. After so long, I had nearly given up on the Uchihas producing any worthy candidates. I just hope they're not foolish enough to break our contract. Quote, Naruto was floored. The mighty Uchiha were servants of Kyuubi. Then why did he attack? Setting down the dairy, she grabbed the other scroll. I'm interested in the contract. These are made when a demon gives humans what you call bloodlines and expects something in return. She quickly skimmed the entire scroll. When she finished, she looked up. Well, I found the answer to your questions. The contract gives the humans a dujutsu called the Sharingan. In return for this, the Kitsune clan has the right to take any child before their 5th birthday to be inducted into the Kitsune clan. If the Uchiha back out, it is written that the punishment is death, for the entire clan. Then it has a detailed family tree. This Itachi was the son of the clan head Uchiha Fugaku and his wife Uchiha Makoto, formerly of the Uzumaki clan. She stopped when she heard a bang. She looked over to see Naruto on his white as a ghost with Haku hugging him, trying to comfort him. What's wrong? Naruto looked at her. My name, Uzumaki, I never found another Uzumaki. I wonder if I'm related to her. Miko looked at him. You mean your parents didn't tell you about your family? Haku was the one that spoke up. Naruto was an orphan. He was also a pariah for holding Kyuubi. The villagers called him demon, refused to sell him food and clothing, and even beat him. From what he's told me, he's never been able to find out who his parents are. Miko bowed her head. I'm sorry. Naruto looked over at her. It's okay. You didn't know. Does it say anything else about her? Miko looked back at the scroll. It seems my brother did gather some information on her. It says that she is one of the last 2 Uzumaki and that she has a dormant blood limit, that's all. But he had made a note to ask about it while retrieving Itachi. So, Kyuubi attacked because the Uchiha reneged on a deal. Naruto fell deep into thought. Then he remembered that some of his worst beatings came from the Uchiha. You know, looking back, it's funny in a morbidly ironic way. Itachi went crazy and killed his entire clan, except his little brother, and became a missing nin. Now I learn that they are the reason my life is hell, and I can't help but think I owe Itachi my gratitude. I'd shake his hand if I could. I just wonder why he finally snapped. I don't know, you'd have to ask him that. Miko rolled up both scrolls and put them back. But it's about time we got to your training. What do you know about Genjutsu? Naruto winced. Just the basic theory. I really at Genjutsu. Haku bowed her head. I too know only theory. I never learned anything beyond dispelling them. Miko's sweat dropped. Okay then, how's your chakra control? Naruto winced again, but Haku looked up. I've trained my control since my former mentor took me in. My bloodline requires a lot of control, so I learned many exercises to improve it. I know tree climbing, water walking, and just started kunai balancing. Naruto picked up after Haku. I know tree climbing and Haku showed me water walking, but I haven't gotten that down. My last sensei also gave me a scroll for another exercise, but I haven't opened it yet. I was going to after I got water walking down. Miko nodded to herself. Okay, for the next week I want you working on control, speed, endurance, and genjutsu. If you don't mind, I'd like to see that scroll, Naruto. Naruto sprang up and over to his pack as Haku rose to get her equipment. He quickly found the scroll and handed it to Miko. Here, Miko-sensei. Miko took the scroll and smiled. I'm glad to see you're serious about this. Follow me, I'll take you to my training ground. But first, with a devilish grin, she flew through some hand seals. When she stopped, both her hands glowed as she touched each of them on the back of the neck. They instantly fell to their knees. The seal I placed on you converts 10% of your chakra into extra weight. This will increase your strength and speed. Be glad you're Kitsune, because the stress would most likely destroy human muscles and tendons. Naruto suddenly remembered that they needed to return to Konoha in 5 days. Sensei, Haku and I have to return to Konoha and be in the Hokage's office by 10 a.m. Wednesday. Miko's grin widened. Well then, you'd better get working. I won't let you leave until you know Hito Funsu, human disguise. This illusion is a passive one used to hide one's ears and tails from prying eyes. Generally every kid must learn this before they are allowed to leave the safety of the den. And have earned 1 tael each. With that she led them to the pagoda, but when she opened it, on the other side was the white expanse of snow country. The two were speechless at the beauty of the land. The crisp, clean snow covered everything in a gentle blanket of white. As they walked behind Miko, they traveled through a dense pine forest. The smell was enchanting. It seemed to calm both the mind and the soul. They were led to a cave that descended a good 20 feet before ascending 10 feet. It then opened up into a well-furnished home. The guest room is down that hall on the left. You will share it, but if you value your lives, you'll keep the noise down. At this they both turned crimson and nodded meekly, so Miko continued her speech. Today you will do just your chakra exercises. Tomorrow, your new training schedule starts, and just for your information, this valley is a mystical place. I came here for its seclusion and beauty, but I soon found time only moves at half speed here. That means you have 5.5 48-hour days to train. Their shock was visible, but Miko just continued the tour of her home with a grin. After the tour, she led them out of the cave into a nearby natural hot spring. Naruto, this is where you will work on water walking. Haku, since you can do kunai balancing anywhere, you might as well do it here. When the sun sets, come back to the cave. Naruto and Haku bowed and started their respective training. With a smile, she left. And so their hell stared. They woke up at 3:30 in the morning to get ready and eat before 4 o'clock to do chakra exercises till 2400. They got 30 minutes to eat before they had to run as fast as possible around the mountains of snow country till 30:30 and spar till 32:30. They then got another half hour to eat before Miko instructed them in Kitsune Genkaku, Fox Illusion. That lasted till 42:00 when they crawled into bed. Kyubi was once again good on his word. They both surprised her by passing her expectations by leaps and bounds. They had both earned their first tael after the 4th day of their training. It was quite a shock waking up with Naruto's large golden blonde tail wrapped around Haku and Haku's midnight blue tail wrapped around Naruto. Haku loved their new appendages and found that petting Naruto's tail put a silly grin on his face. Then there was the fact that she purred when he scratched her new ears. Miko just fell into a giggling fit at the young couple's behavior. Naruto had mastered water walking and progressed to kunai balancing, but where he had really surprised Miko was by not only learning Hito Funsu, but also Heki Dageki, false strike. When the user moves to strike the opponent sees the user moving to strike a different place than the user is actually aiming for. What most likely made this possible was the fact that without having two chakra systems, illusions became much easier to perform, but he still preferred to beat the crap out of someone as opposed to make them fall over drooling, as he put it. Haku had finished kunai balancing and started the exercise from Naruto's scroll. It explained that by sitting under a waterfall and emitting a constant amount of chakra from your entire body, you can shield yourself from the water. She had much difficulty with this because her chakra tried to bond and move the water instead of repel it, so she still had yet to get the hang of the exercise. Haku also found that she was a natural at Kitsune Genkaku, having learned 3 of the techniques. She learned both illusions that Naruto had learned and Kitoshirezu Monban, Hidden Gate Watcher. This illusion removes all traces of one's presence as long as they move no more than to breathe. This is almost useless in battle, but it's great for stationary guards and hiding from pursuers. There was one mystery that still plagued Miko, and that was how Naruto got the bands of seals around his wrist. He didn't even notice it until she had asked about it. They were no doubt powerful, but where did it come from? Flashback. Naruto and Haku had just gotten back after training in chakra control the first day. Miko was sitting in the cave's living room when they came in. Naruto, I'd like to talk to you for a second. Haku continued off to the bathroom. It looks like I get first dibs on the shower then. Naruto nervously sat across from Miko. She noticed this and smiled at him. It's not anything you did wrong, so don't worry. I was just wondering what the band of seals around your wrist is for. I was going over our fight and I remembered that it was glowing. He just looked at her in confusion, then looked at his wrist. Whoa, when did those get there? You mean to tell me you've had a band of seals on your wrist since our fight and you didn't notice? I take it you also have no idea what it's for then either. She just sighed at her student's oversight. He bowed his head. I'm sorry, sensei. I just don't look at my hands that often, I guess. She smiled again and got up to stand next to the chair he was in. Well then, let's take a look, shall we? They then took the time to actually look at the markings. Naruto's eyes widened. Hey, you know what? These kanji are the seals needed for the Kage Bunshin. What do you think that means? Miko grinned. Naruto, push some chakra into the seal. He nodded and did as he was told. Suddenly there were 5 Naruto clones around them. Ah, just as I thought. It seems that by pushing chakra into these seals, you no longer need to perform hand seals for that jutsu. Now we just need to find out how you got them. Naruto's face scrunched into what might be called a thoughtful look. Miko just tried to hold in her laughter. After a minute, Naruto looked towards Miko. Do you think this is the Uzumaki bloodline? Miko looked down at Naruto. You know, that's a good question. Haku came in wearing a bathrobe. Showers free. End flashback. Miko snapped out of her thoughts when Naruto stopped. She looked up to see a guard approaching them. Halt. State your name and reason for visiting Konoha. Naruto stepped forward, Uzumaki Naruto and Haku returning from training. The guard saw their Hitai and nodded. He then turned to Miko. My name is Miko. I have come to speak with your Hokage. She looked at him straight in the eye. Naruto spoke up. We have a meeting with him. He should be expecting us. The guard nodded again and went back to his post while the gates opened. Miko never did like it in the city. It felt cramped and sterile. Konoha wasn't as bad since it did have its occasional park or small grove of trees here and there, but it was still too crowded for her tastes. She didn't miss the stares and insults either. She just scowled at their narrow-mindedness. They entered the administration building and headed to the Hokage's office. When they got there, the Anbu guard stopped them. The Anbu with a tiger mask looked over them. You're early, brat. Wait over there. The guard pointed to a couch and chairs in the corner. Miko was about to say something, but Naruto beat her to it. Hey Tiger-san, you're not mad from when I put itching power in the Anbu laundry, are you? I mean, that was 2 months ago. The Anbu guard just bopped him on the head. Yes, as a matter of fact I am. You know how long it took to get out? They got a good laugh at the poor Anbu's misfortune and seated themselves to wait. After a couple of minutes, the door opened and the Hokage stepped out. He looked over to the waiting area and smiled. Naruto, Haku, I'm glad to see you're early. Come on in. They both stood up and Naruto motioned to Miko. I would like you to meet with Miko-sensei. She helped us with our new training. The Hokage looked over the white-haired beauty. He bowed toward Miko. Thank you for your assistance. Please come in. And with a smile he ushered everyone into his office. When they entered they saw a woman that seemed to be in her mid-20s leaning against the wall. The first thing anyone could notice was that she was pissed. She just glared at the Hokage, as if she thought that if she glared hard enough, it just might kill him. If glaring wasn't enough, then maybe the kunai that she was spinning. Mitarashi Anko was not happy. The Hokage just got done telling her that she'd be stuck babysitting 3 genin. That meant that the highest ranked mission they'd be doing is most likely C. When she saw the 2 teenagers walk in, she looked them over. Well, the blonde looks familiar. Oh yeah, that's the Kyuubi kid. I thought he was on Kakashi's team. And I don't think I've ever seen the blue-haired girl. The Hokage sat behind his desk. Anko, these are 2 of your new genin, Uzumaki, Naruto and Haku. They each bowed to their newest sensei. And the old man looked over to the genin. Naruto, Haku, this is Mitarashi Anko. She will be your Junin instructor. A cough from the back of the room grabbed their attention. If I may do so, I would like to continue their special training. Anko looked over the pale woman and smiled. Why do I have to babysit these punks when, China doll, over there wants the job? Miko glared at the woman that just insulted her. I suggest you hold your tongue lest you lose it. Anko flung her kunai with the intent to nick the other woman's cheek, but was surprised when Miko swung her sword and Anko's kunai embedded into the wall on either side, having been split in 2. Both of you calm down, there is no need for violence. He looked over at Anko. You are their new Junin instructor and that's final. Now you are dismissed. Anko growled and looked over to her new students. Be at training ground 44 at 6 tomorrow morning. Don't be late. She then disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Naruto looked over to the Hokage and frowned. So why did you choose her? The old man just sighed. Well, you see, Anko has had it very similar to you, Naruto. That is all I'm going to say. It's up to her if she tells you more. Tomorrow, your other teammate will be returning from his mission. You'll meet him then. Now I'm interested in what you've learned and who you are, Miko-san. Naruto smiled. You might want to make this private. With a nod he pressed a button on his desk. Please make sure no one disturbs me, Yumi-san. He then did the seals for the sound barrier and the walls glowed for a second. At that time all 3 Kitsune dropped their illusions. He was surprised to see that Naruto and Haku both had fox ears and a bushy tail, but he nearly had a heart attack when he saw Miko's white fox ears and 8 flowing white fox tails. Naruto, seeing the old man's shock, smiled. Hokage-sama, meet Miko no Kitsune, sister to Kyuubi no Kitsune. The rest of the color left Sarutobi's face. Relax. She's not here to kill anyone. Miko has taught us much. But we have some questions. Sarutobi calmed down a little. What would you like to ask me? Naruto's face got serious, as he looked his Hokage straight in the eyes. Why didn't you tell me about Uzumaki Makoto? Am I related to her? And if so, what was the Uzumaki bloodline? Sarutobi mentally winced at each question. First, I must ask how you found out about her and the Uzumaki bloodline. Naruto scowled. You first, old man. The Hokage leaned back in his chair. Uzumaki Makoto was the last Uzumaki in Konoha until the Uchiha massacre. Her sister, Aurora, died during the Kyuubi's attack after giving birth to you. She tried to adopt you, but Uchiha Fugaku would not have it. He was one of the biggest supporters of your execution. The Hokage turned his chair to look out the window. As for their bloodline, it is arguably one of the most powerful bloodlines. It's called Kagiranai Potentiaru, unlimited potential. This bloodline is either dormant or active at birth, and there is no way of telling if it's active or not. You see, Naruto, Uzumakis that have this bloodline active have no limits. No matter how much they train, they never hit the plateau that all other people have. If you know who my mother is, then you must know who my father is. And why did you never tell me about either of them? You know how many times I wondered where I came from. I thought my parents hated me like the rest of the village, or that maybe they were evil people and I was being punished for their crimes. Naruto was visibly enraged. Haku had hugged him, trying to get him to calm down. You will tell me, or so help me you'll never see me again. The old man sighed. Naruto, you won't like what I have to tell you. Naruto just waited. I was told not to tell you until you were either a chunin or had turned 16. But seeing as you want to know, I'll give you this. The old man pulled an odd-looking crystal from his desk and passed it to Naruto. Push some chakra into that and you will find your answers. Naruto looked at the crystal, then pushed a small amount of chakra into it. What looked like a transparent bunchen appeared in front of Naruto. The figure was a tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed man wearing a long white coat that had short sleeves and flames embroidered on the edges. He also wore black ninja pants and a black muscle shirt. He nearly dropped the crystal when he realized who he was looking at. The figure waved and scratched his head sheepishly. Hey Naruto. If you're watching this, then the old man finally thinks you are ready to learn a couple things that have been kept from you. The first thing is that I, Kazama Arashi, am your father. You might know me better as the fourth Hokage. I'm sorry for what I'm about to do to you, but there is no choice. You see, Kyuubi is attacking Konoha. We don't know why, but the only way to stop him is if I seal him. To do this, I need a child. Anything else and he will be able to break free. I'm sorry, but you are the only child that was born today, so I have no other choice. I hope you don't hate me, but I'll understand if you do. I just hope that you and your mother will be happy together. I wish I could be there too, but the seal I'm using will take my life. The figure bowed its head for a minute before continuing. Now I'm going to tell you about our bloodline. You see, the Kazama line is older than Konoha itself. We are known as seal masters. Matter of fact, our bloodline is called Futedoku, seal mastery. I have given all the scrolls about our bloodline to my old sensei, Jiraiya, with the promise he will teach you all about sealing in your bloodline. The figure then smiled warmly. Well, I've got to go now. Know that I love you. I will miss seeing you and your mother. Goodbye, my son. The figure waved and faded from view. Naruto dropped the crystal as he fell to his knees. Haku embraced him as he let go of his emotions. He loved me. My parents loved me. I wasn't abandoned. Haku rubbed his back, trying to comfort him. After Naruto calmed down, he looked over to the Hokage. Thank you, but you're still not off the hook for this. Now, I'm going home. Miko-sensei, you can crash with us if you have nowhere else to stay. Miko looked over to the Hokage. If it's alright that I stay. The Hokage smiled. You're welcome to stay, and I'd be grateful if you continued their training. Seeing her nod, he turned to Naruto. Oh, and your parents left you with a sizable amount of money. I'll see if I can get you some better living conditions, but until then your apartment will have to do. I'm sorry. I'll also see if I can get a hold of Jiraiya. He's out collecting information but should be here in about a month. Well, since you were so forthcoming, I'll give you this. Naruto took out the Uchiha contract. This is how I found out about my aunt. It seems Kyuubi is the one who gave the Uchiha their Sharingan, and when he came to collect Uchiha Itachi as payment he was denied, so he attacked. Naruto pocketed the crystal and with a bow he, Haku, and Miko reactivated the illusion to hide their fox features and left, Naruto saying something about needing ramen badly.